Hello again, friends. It is Caparzo with the TPL stream, and today we have a special event for you all. I caught up with Killa, RazBora, and the FreshBakedGoods to stream the semifinal match between 7th Legion and MERC. This was a great match, and it was great discussing Hell Let Loose and console competitive matches. We start with a bit of a podcast for the first 45 minutes or so while the teams get ready, but I'll have a timestamp in the description for when the match starts. This was a really great broadcast, so be sure to follow on the Twitch so you don't miss the finals in the next couple of weeks here. Thanks again to Raz and Fresh for joining. I really hope everyone enjoys. You're watching the Season 2 semifinal match of the People's League between defending Season 1 champion 7th Legion versus the Mercenary Task Force, or MERC. MERC finished their regular season 5-2, earning themselves the second seed, while 7th rolled to a 7-0 record deserving of the top seed. But this will be the first time in TPL history these two clans go at it. My name is Caparzo, and I will be one of your commentators this evening. Joining me will be our producer Killa, and we're also joined by special guest commentators RazBora and FreshBakedGoods. While we're waiting for the match to start, I'm interested in hearing Raz's and Fresh's thoughts on how the console side is different from what they see on the PC side of the game. Raz?
Yeah, so I will say, console has such a tight-knit group. I think PC does too, but the amount of effort that you all have done and the amount of effort that everyone has done to keep these communities, they're massive communities. I've seen even on Facebook you guys have communities. Just really, really impressive. I will say, just playing public games, you can definitely see there's some more free weekend play all the time, every day. But from these organized games, I'm really excited to see my first actual organized event of comp. So yeah.
Yeah, so I am less familiar with Hell Let Loose on console than Raz's, but I have played a couple matches over there. And honestly, I have nothing but good things to say. We might have been kind of spoiled because we did have a lot of high-ranking people when I played on console, but I did notice that mics were getting used and the proximity chat was getting really used. But I don't really have anything bad to say about Hell Let Loose on console. I'm really curious to see how competitive Hell Let Loose is on console. If there's any major differences there with the PC, if there's any different strategies. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would be a little more exploitable with the game on console than PC. So I'm just curious to see what the similarities are and the differences are.
Yeah, I think from when we started it, even last season with the People's League Season 1, you've seen even the style of play evolve over that amount of time. Things like artillery sniping with bazookas, which is something that has existed on PC for some time, is something that is starting to be used on console more frequently. So little things like that, I think people pick from the PC clan scene and try to bring over what you can, but there's certainly that element on console of a bit of jankiness that could sometimes play more than a little bit of a factor in the more sanitized competitive matches, which we're kind of what we're dealing with now as the two teams are burning to find a warfare match. Currently been a couple matches here while we wait to get started, so make sure you stick with us. But I again just want to thank RazBora and FreshBakedGoods for joining us here today. It's a pleasure to have you, and I'm definitely glad to showcase the console side of the things that maybe you don't see as much.
Yeah, of course. It's a happy accident I'm here, by the way. I just happen to be at the right place at the right time.
You know me, I'm always scooting around everywhere. So I appreciate you guys bringing me on and also having Fresh here. It's quite incredible, your guys' setup. I will say, I was just talking to Fresh right before the stream went live. You guys were kind of showing me your whole OBS setup and your whole thing. I am shook at how much the production is in this.
Yeah,
you guys,
real.
You guys really went all out on this. I'm always super intimidated when I see something like this because mine is just one scene. It's just me, and that's it. So it's awesome. Kudos to you guys, for sure.
Yeah, for real. If anyone's watching us that's unfamiliar with how comp works on console for Hell Let Loose, the amount of effort these guys put into getting this
insane.
The teams getting to the right map, the production behind this cast is unreal. So, I want to go ahead and preach and say that everyone involved in this deserves so much more for what their effort in this.
And remember, like, they don't have any sort of what is it, like eye in the sky or like, admin cam. It's literally, we're watching 4 different people that are first person POVs of these comp players, and it's tied in all through OBS. They have like strat sketch here, like everything, like all lined up. So I'm very, very appreciative of what they set up for us here today. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Should be a good game.
Seeing 100 people like take the time to make this work, plus then you have the few on the casting side over here. It's just, it's so cool to see the dedication.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys, and a lot of that is obviously Killa in the booth, as we might say today, in the producer's box. So thanks, Killa. Your work is definitely appreciated here, and I 100% agree. Having an admin cam would be such a huge quality of life improvement for us. But I think the audience is willing. Us as the players in the People's League are all willing to make something like this happen. So everyone enjoys the product that when we did it last season. So it's something that we're happy to do, and we all enjoy watching these competitive matches, and especially to see who's going to make the final here. And I guess we can talk a little bit about that here today, because we have had the other side of the bracket, which was Hell Let Loose Elite versus Berserk, take place last night, where Hell Let Loose Elite ended up coming up on top 4-1 on a San Maria Glees match. So if the 7th were to come away with a victory today, that would mean we would have a rematch of Season 1's championship match between the 7th and HLLE. So I'm sure 7th might be looking ahead to that and thinking of last season, but they certainly just got to take care of business here today against a good MERC team.
Yeah, so how far have both these teams come? Like, how many matches are in this tournament?
So in each, like the regular season, I guess you could say, there is, I believe, 7 matches. So occasionally there's a bye week if a team is unable to muster enough players, but that's thankfully fairly rare now in Season 2. In Season 1, it was a little bit more of a problem, but MERC, or rather 7th, had a record of 7-0 this season, and each one of them by a 5-0 margin. So,
oh wow,
pretty dominant victories there. And then MERC also played 7 games with a 5-2 record, and plus 19 in strong points. So not as many 5-0 victories, but their win-loss did give them the 2nd seed in the Atlantic side of the standings.
I'm curious to see, the team with all the 5-0s and stuff. Obviously, they're going to play pretty aggressively. I'm curious to see if there's different styles. If going on the defensive and play more conservative, will do more help here. So that's kind of cool to know these facts.
Yeah, with MERC, they've had more of a 3-2 kind of victory mentality, and I'm not sure how much of that is intentional, where they want to get themselves in a position where they can dominate a strong point and make it extremely difficult to recapture, or how much of it is how the game flows, and like when you capture that midpoint, did you have it right away, or did you capture it 20 minutes in, where your mentality might be like, okay, let's just hold on.
Yeah, very true, very true.
And can you walk through, because I'm sure some of our audience here today is not from the console scene. So what is allowed in console comp and what isn't? I know they're burning through maps. So can you kind of explain what maps are considered okay, what maps are not part of it? Are there any restrictions on vehicles, things like that?
Sure. So as far as gameplay is considered, weapon, vehicle bans, artillery bans, that sort of thing, everything goes. Nothing is banned in that regard. But with the maps, that's where we get into why we're doing all these burns here. Is Warfare is the only accepted mode, but on console we don't have the ability still to select Warfare, so we end up having to swap between offensive and Warfare. And then the additional complication is that not all maps are accepted. Particularly the British faction in general is banned. So anytime that there's a El Alamein or Driel, that will be skipped. And then maps like Remagen are typically banned. Sometimes teams agree to play it with the caveat that the middle is the bridge. But in most cases, that is also banned. And then we have another kind of outlier ban, which is Stalingrad, and I think typically people would be okay with playing it, but the crashes that we experience on console, particularly Xbox players, makes it banned for that reason.
I mean, I guess that's what you get for playing, the non-superior console being Xbox, right?
I think
Raz over here like Scrooge McDuck and his pile of rich money, like talking about computers.
Oh, I got my PS5. I'm a PS5 or PlayStation.
There you go. See, that's a superior console.
Yeah. So, can you kind of walk us through a little bit of like the things that people have to do on console in reference to like setting up their controls? So I've done a little bit of like console, not a ton. I'm probably like level like 40 or 50, but I know people have like a bunch of different settings they use. Like the aiming for me is terrible. Do these guys have a specific, like, everyone has very unique settings that they all set up? Like all the comp teams?
There's not a meta setup for sure. It's very much all the guys have their own sorts of setups. So you'll see it vary a lot, particularly with settings like dead zone and things like that. I mean, some people's controller has a little bit of stick drift. So, it's all these smaller elements that go into it. But
what's that, Fresh? No,
I don't know this life, dude.
Last in PC. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, it's a lot of variance, and I think sometimes like each clan might have like a guy or two where it's like, okay, this is my settings that I like, like try this if you're struggling or something like that, and people adjust from there. But it's tons of variance, and but I don't think a lot of people play in the default controls because those are pretty tough on console. If you've ever loaded up this game for the first time on console, you're gonna have a really, really tough experience that first life of yours, which is hard enough as it stands, being your first and Hell Let Loose.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop the first time on console. There's like multiple buttons that do different things, like like completely different actions and functions. That definitely threw me off. So I get why people move stuff around and everything.
So can you walk us through the 4 people we're spectating today on each side?
Yeah. So today we'll have 4 perspectives, 2 from each team. On the 7th Legion side, we'll have Gold Star, who will be running, I believe, Recon for them. And then as well, we'll have General Marsh, who is going to be in the armor side of the game.
Let's go.
I know Fresh is excited about that. Yeah, we'll have to
we're rooting for him. What team is he on? The 7th? Okay.
And then on MERC side, we have Chris Kyle, who will be, I believe, a defensive squad. And then Cap C, who will be on offense for them.
Awesome. Okay.
So they have all these like squads. Like you just said that there's going to be an offensive and defensive squad. So they kind of register that. Like they give you that information.
They disclosed that to us, but like in general, like teams will have their certain squads do certain things. That's all prearranged ahead of time. I think cool. Most clans will handle it that way.
How many armor squads are there going to be? Oh my lord!
In general, you're used to seeing 3. Sometimes you'll see 2, depending on fuel resources. Sometimes they might swap between going to an infantry squad or something like that, or even artillery. But in general, 3 is kind of what you see. 2 is also fairly common, though. I don't know how that differs from what PC typically runs. Is it like, for resource conservation?
I'd say like 2 or 3. I think 2, right? Fresh. I don't watch too much PC comp.
I don't know the comp strats on PC too closely, to be honest with you. I feel like I learn something new every time I watch a comp match.
Yeah, not too much. I'm starting to figure out why everyone on PC or on console is such a high rank. It's because they have to burn so many games. It's insane. So you get the bonus constantly. Because I'm seeing these guys like 400 to 500. I have 2.8k hours like straight, little to no seating. Sorry, Fresh. But
yeah, I know.
I'm like 380. Jesus Christ, these guys are like 400 to 500. Like one guy's like 493. Oh my lord.
I believe 7th has a level 500 guy as well, so I've not seen that anywhere else on console personally. But yeah, it's these guys are playing the game quite a bit, and yeah, the match bonuses definitely rack up from these burn matches. I do want to take a quick moment to plug something here. for you guys.
Oh,
Running a
yes.
charity drive all through December for children's cancer. Is it? Maybe you could speak more to that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got this. So Raz and I both help run a server called the Beer House on PC, and then last December we started doing a thing where we do a month-long charity kind of blitz for the Cancer Research Institute, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to funding laboratory and clinical research aimed at harnessing our immune system's power to treat and potentially cure all cancers. So going back a little further, Raz and I have basically been helping run the server for a little over a year or two now.
Yeah, it's
And
like 2 years.
Yeah, and of course, with servers on PC, you get people paying for VIP and stuff. We've never, ever, no one's ever pocketed any money of that. At the end of the year, we throw it in the charity. But we also go on top of that and try to raise some as well. And that's where kind of this comes from for December. But yeah, the program is called Beer House Takes Aim. Our goal this year is $5,000. We raised a little over $4,000 last year, so of course we got to go bigger and better. But yeah, it's all the money from the server goes to this, and then anything anyone else can give in December really helps as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can post the link in the chat, that would be super helpful. And usually we don't ask for any money at all or donations whatsoever. But once a year, I think it's a good time to, give back. And, there's people that are, not having the best of times, right? So like it helps research that cancer.
It gives us the ability to do something. Like we have these platforms and we don't get to use them for good too often. And this gives us an opportunity to kind of help people. And
just
really,
evil
and give back. I know. Usually it's just we're just menaces and hell let loose. But now once a year we take a month and we try to give back to the world.
So if you guys
for the spirit of December and spirit of giving,
man.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
If you do have that capacity, it would mean a lot to us and obviously the cancer research. Yeah,
that's the crazy thing is we do hear from regulars on the server. We see people in our content, our streams commenting. And it's, people like just today I saw a comment that was, my wife got diagnosed with cancer a couple weeks ago. So it's crazy. Cancer affects a lot of people's lives in one way or another, and it will affect a lot of our lives in our future. So it's one of those things where we can all agree upon and all really say, fuck cancer. So it's something we can all unite against.
Yeah.
Everyone knows someone that's been affected. So it's a great charity, and we should definitely, check out that link. Killa will pin in the comments here, and take a look at that if you're able to donate. That's very great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate anything anyone can do.
So walk me through. I have a friend, Charlotte. She's part of the 7th. I guess she was part of MERC. So she was explaining. She always tries to give me some tea on the console side in reference to like the rivalry. So my understanding is there's a good rivalry that we're going to see right with the 7th and the MERC. Is there any history of rivalry between the two?
I mean, there's
Shout out Charlotte. Thank you for the heads up.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of jabber back and forth in the TPL league chat. I think much to Killa, who's a mod over there, dismay. But I think leading up to this match, I think these two teams both have kind of avoided each other, not on purpose, but just through pure coincidence of scheduling and being on opposite sides of brackets. So they've never really played each other. So I think you have a lot of that, like, you want to get that first victory under your belt against that other team, and start a rivalry in the right way. So without a score to point to beforehand, I think both teams were kind of going at it more than we would see otherwise, where there's more of an established history of who typically comes out on top. But MERC actually has a great rivalry with another clan, First, and they've had a series of games.
I know the First, they're
always. Those games are always looked forward to by both sides, because I believe MERC began as a split off out of the First. So a lot of those guys know each other. So I think some of it is friendly, and I think some of it is a little bit more like, we want to beat you guys. So that's definitely a fun element of the league, and the fact that all these people know each other, from seeing them in game or just through these matches, those rivalries definitely get built up over time.
That's awesome. Yeah, like it's really interesting to see how much we've not seen in reference to Hell Loose, because we're pretty in tune, I would say, with a lot of like the rivalry between the clans and stuff like that, and kind of where each clan stacks up. So who's kind of favored in this matchup? Like who do we think is going to be the underdog statistically? Who's kind of like going to be on top? What are you thinking?
So
I have no background, so I have no idea.
I think most people coming into the match, just if you look at pure history of these two teams, would probably say that Seventh is going to be the favorite. They have, obviously they're last season's champion, so that's a huge element of everyone kind of gunning from them. They're all season, everyone obviously wants to dethrone the champs, but were unable to, of course, with their 7-0 record and then 5-0 victories on all of those. So they'll definitely come in as the favorite here. They have a reputation of very quick, aggressive matches. They want to get on your fourth point before you've capped the midpoint even. So that sort of pressure can cause some teams to fold. And, obviously it's worked for them. So they'll definitely come in as the favorite. But MERC, coming from last season, they have improved a ton. Last season, I believe they made the playoffs, but they also had a lot of bye weeks. I know my clan had the same sort of thing with tons of bye weeks. So they've improved a ton. I've seen them, coming from last season, they beat my clan this season, but last season we had come out on top. It's a big improvement by them. So I think that, combined with the fact that these two teams haven't played with each other, it's going to be interesting to see how they, kind of go at it.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm really excited to see what kind of tactics they use. Like you mentioned, a lot of the metas from PC is coming over to console. And so I think this will be a very much like interesting game as compared to what I've experienced for the most part on console, where it's usually free weekend,
Oh, certainly. I mean, it's right now it is a free weekend on console, and sometimes you even forget about that it is a free weekend because you're just so accustomed to that level of play on a regular. It's for the vet players, it can be demoralizing sometimes when you're in these warfare games, especially where you look forward to them because it's the most competitive style of play, and in a public match, sometimes it's over in 15 minutes, and then you go from a great map to a not as good one. So you end up missing out on all those potentially great maps.
Yeah, I've had a weird free weekend this weekend. It's so crazy because you can't, any experienced Hell Loose player kind of gets into the predictability of it. Like Hell Loose starts to become a pretty predictable game. You kind of know what other people are going to do. You know what the strategies are. But then you get some free weekend players. And these people are wild. You cannot predict what free weekend players are going to do.
Very true.
It's so wild to get on these free weekends. And I'm like, there's not going to be a tank over there. And sure enough, there is. Like, you don't even think about this kind of stuff. Keeps you on your toes.
So do you guys see it is a common occurrence as well, where you'll check your nemesis and their level will be like something you would never expect? It's like, what is this guy even doing over here?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's one
it can be rough.
Yeah, because you can still score decently high. You can get kills when you're low level. It's everyone's one click away from death, so that definitely happens. But you play 90% of these games throughout the year of knowing like, okay, there's going to be a garrison there, there's going to be a tank there, infantry's going to come from there. Then free weekend comes around, you're like, what is even happening right now?
Why are there 5 red zone garrisons? What's going on?
It's stuff you're not thinking of. It's stuff you honestly don't think about anymore.
It's working.
It's because no one's predicting it. It's like never let them know your next move, and free weekend players are really good at that.
It's definitely.
I will say, it's nice to have a community server though, because although we do get free weekends, like our server is a little more veterans and has a very strong core group. So we might, holy shit, there's another burn. That's crazy.
Actually incredible.
It must, I mean, it really has like still a core group. So you really only get maybe, at most 10-20% that are new players. That's about it.
Yeah, I think that's part of the clan world too, where you asked about improvement versus last season, like what people are thinking coming into the season. A lot of these players, the clans come and go sometimes, and those players then disperse themselves among other clans, and people might leave between seasons, or for a host of reasons, go from one place to the other. And I think that also changes the landscape on a season-to-season basis. But I think the players at large, not a ton of like new players coming in, which is worrying about the state of the game. But I think the people who are dedicated to it are dedicated enough so that it is able to sustain itself. But I mean, some of the things I think we could all agree on, what we saw with like the British integration and things like that, has been a little bit rushed and maybe not have been great for the health of the game.
What do you mean? I will say, so like Hella Loose, in my opinion, has had one of the best communities, I think, if not for a fact, that I've ever been a part of. Like, very welcoming,
100%.
Everyone's super chill. I can safely say that's the same thing for console too. Like, I've gone in multiple times just by myself, and people are like, oh, your level, whatever, like 10, 15, 20, whatever. Like, oh, this is how you do this. This is how you do it. I'm like, of course. I know what I'm doing, But it's nice to know that, coming in as a new player, people, even on console, are still like that, loving to, have like those core hella loose proxy chat moments. And I think that's really like still been at the heart of Hella Loose, despite what console or what platform it's on,
Yeah, this game's always had a really good player base of if you want to learn the game and you have the patience of letting someone show you how to play this game, the opportunity's always been there. That goes back years and years when I started playing 3 years ago now. I still remember the first dude that was like, nodes work? And I'm like, I don't even know what nodes are. And he like walked me across like the map and like, we're going to, expect me to build them deep in enemy territory. He's like, that's what you do. So
I remember the first time I tanked, man. I had, do you remember Nah from...
Yeah.
Well, I forget. Goff originally.
Yeah, it's probably Goff.
Yeah, dude, Nah was such a homie. Like, one of the first legit, like, Colonel 500 or whatever. He taught me to tank the first time, and then I remember I ran into you at some point. I wasn't tanking. I think it was recon, and I was just like, hey, a FreshBakedGoods, can you drive me around? You like drove me around in your little recon car. I think you were with Marco and Jack, and it was just like super cool moment. And then I remember, is that the FreshBakedGoods? I was freaking out. That was so funny.
I don't get that very much anymore.
Oh my god!
Everybody sees me and they're slumming it with the rest of them.
Oh, dude, those are good days. But yeah, like, I mean, it's just such a positive community, super cool, like close knit, and I'm glad to see that still in the console space. And I know that all the comp people, like specifically the comp people, are the ones that are promoting that game, and promoting that environment, which is cool. Where I'll be completely transparent, I'm gonna get canceled from this for the millionth time. I don't think like the console, the PC comp group does necessarily the same. There are still a lot of great PC folks, that are in the comp group that are very welcoming and teach people, but it's a little more like hardcore, where
there's a little more gatekeeping.
Yes, very much so. Where console, they're more just regular players, so you get a lot more of people regularly.
You can't choose to go anywhere else in console, so you're forced to get along.
Exactly. So it's really interesting, and it's kind of a nice, diverse group of people that are just very welcoming. So if you haven't checked out Hell Loose, check it out. Highly recommend.
Yeah, and you see those posts all the time on like particularly the console side of Reddit for this game, where it's like, oh, is this game still alive? Is this game still alive? And it's like it definitely is still alive. You could always find a match for it, and I encourage everyone to maybe look about how to play first, and maybe see if it suits what you're after before you maybe take the plunge, because it does require a different style of play from your typical first-person shooter. But on console, there's really nothing else like it, and I think that's where Hell Let Loose's real competitive advantage is that there's really nothing else like this on console. And when this game is being played at the highest level, and played properly, there is no better experience I've ever had in my life gaming, and it's really something special.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The Hell Let Loose is one of those games where it's incredible. Like, you'll have some low lows, but man, those highs are that nothing else can touch it. Even from a PC perspective, Raz and I play a lot of different games, make content around a lot of different tactical shooters, but nothing even comes close to like when Hell Let Loose is hitting and everything's working correctly and everyone's talking and everyone's working together. No game can hit as hard as Hell Let Loose does.
Agreed.
We're
And
all
like
addicted.
Postscriptum's been coming back and stuff, and like I love Postscriptum Death and Squad and all those games, but like Fresh nailed it on the head. It's just one of those things that even when you have bad games, there can still be good games in Hell Loose. I don't think those other games necessarily capture that essence.
It's so hard to describe. Like we'll go over to Postscriptum, we'll play with someone like Vade and have a great game.
Yeah.
Then the next day I'll jump on Hell Loose and I'll play with just a couple guys. I'm like, oh my god, this feels so good.
Yeah.
It's so hard to describe what they're doing so well in this game, despite all the flaws and problems. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I almost like playing with randoms more sometimes, just because you get those crazy Hell Loose experiences with random people that. For them, might be the first time seeing it. You've seen it a million times.
Dude, I live vicariously through these people.
Yeah.
Like when they see a bombing run for the first time, I'm like, I wish I could feel that.
I know. I feel nothing inside. And that's that's funny because that's how Vade is with Postscriptum. Like Vade is like so straightforward and like very like tactical. And me on Postscriptum, I watch back that video. I'm like, whoa, wow, look at that! Oh my god!
That's the way it goes in Hell Loose. Like I've been SLing a bunch over this weekend. I went Commander and stuff, and people were just like, it's funny watching me blown away by the most basic things in Hell Loose that we all do as players on a daily basis. I'm like, that's awesome. It makes me really happy.
Did you see that guy explode? Oh my god!
Yeah, I did.
Speaking of exploding, Jesus Christ, Fresh, you were just. We were playing a game before this, and FreshBakedGoods was just absolutely wasting all of our AP on single individuals, and it was beautiful. Oh, was it?
Yeah, you can non-pen with HE too.
Oh my god! You just
so I'm assuming this is the same on console. In tanks you can now non-pen infantry. So and it doesn't have to be AP. You can do it with HE. So when you shoot like infantry directly, sometimes it'll just non-pen instead of the explosion image. So it's pretty cool to see. Just because it's just body parts going everywhere.
And sparks just shoot out of their bodies. Like they're wearing some metal plating or something.
That's great.
Jeez Louise. It's ridiculous.
All right, so we are live now?
So we've been live, but now we're live. Yeah.
So if you're watching this, we are in the past because there's a 30-minute delay, so... If we find out
we're living in the future, but you're in the past.
I'm going down a wormhole right now about time travel in my head, and it kind of makes my brain feel funny. I was about to like say something, and I started my words like getting all mushy.
Oh my god!
With the
I see the stream. There we go.
Yeah. With the aspect of like new players, I mean, with the free weekends, that definitely brings new people to the game. But I'm just concerned about the retention of them. Like I think. Like you said, like on the console side, we have a hard time, like kind of, if you're not willing to talk, it's hard to be able to teach you. So that's definitely a part of it. But I think like you said, those moments where you join in with like a random joins your squad or something, and you're with a bunch of people who are in the competitive side of the thing, and they're like, oh, thank God some people are talking in this squad, and you just show them like one of the best experiences, and maybe get them involved in this side of the community. So that's something I still love about Hell Loose and keeps me coming back.
And I feel for you guys on console, because it's like, once again, console just likes to make that more difficult with no server browser, because you guys, if you want to play in a community in the console, you have to seek it out. You have to figure out where that Discord is. You have to reach out to somebody. Whereas on PC, you can just keep going back to that same server until you see somebody if you don't want to go to the Discord. So I do feel for you guys there, and I wish that was easier, because that would help keep players around more, and that would only help you.
We'd love community servers on our side. That'd be such a huge victory for the console
makes
side
this
of the game
so much better, and I hope someday soon you guys get them.
I'm really thinking like what Hell Loose needs to do, and we've spoken about this Fresh on the podcast, is like really just they need to in 2024 delve all their development into console server browser.
Yeah, that should be the number one thing, honestly.
The Pacific. That's like the two things they need to do to bring new players in and consistently have more life into the thing.
I'd love personally to see Fresh in a Japanese tank in a Pacific helmet.
Oh man,
it'll be kind of dumb, because it'll be the same strength as whatever the tank is on the US side, so it'll be kind of dumb looking. But I'm all down for it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You played Battlefield 5. What about that heavy tank with the freaking rocket launchers on it?
Yeah.
Dude, that would be sweet, man.
I mean,
Oh my god.
there's so much more they can do with this game, and we have the new game mode getting tested right now. We have British Part 2 coming out next, and then after that, I don't know how many people know this because it was mentioned so quickly on the interview we did with the devs a month ago. But Mortain is well, at the time, I don't know how much things changed with Team 17, but allegedly the next confirmed map will be a Mortain. I guess is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
so
Mortain.
that'll be really cool. That'll be really cool. If you're unfamiliar with that battle, it looks like it'll be pretty fun. Looks like it'll be a really cool environment to be in. So a lot of big things are on the corner for this game, whether it be game modes, maps, updates. It seems like they have a lot going on.
Yeah, I think the skirmish mode is going to be interesting to see too.
Yeah, because you guys don't get to try that.
yeah. I mean, I've kind of like looked around to kind of see what that's going to be like. I mean, it's definitely going to be a different type of game. I don't know how they're going to mix it in with the current rotation.
You guys will have a whole separate option to join skirmish modes, as far as I could tell. I think that was mentioned on the Discord by.
Okay.
So console will have the normal warfare offensive mode, then they can click to join a skirmish mode separately. So, and that makes sense too with the timer being so much shorter. You don't have to mess with that. So that'll be really cool.
Is the player count?
Yeah.
Is there still a medium tank in there?
Yeah, it's just one medium tank per team.
Dude, listen.
I tried it.
If console gets that medium tank, you're gonna have immediate solo tankers, dude. Solo tank.
So
can you
bad.
imagine that?
That's gonna be horrible.
I guess you can vote to kick, but it's so important.
Yeah. Here's the thing: as soon as those servers hit 100 people in that game mode, those tanks are gonna get wrecked. We played Raz. I don't know when you did your playtest how many people were in the server. The PT got up to be about 50 people, and
it was 80 when I played.
Oh, was it really? Yeah,
we were wrecked.
We had AT. Yeah, we did too. We kept the tanks alive the whole time. We had AT chasing us the whole
it was
time.
terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, they're everywhere. Yeah, but we never died.
If you have players that know what you're doing, you'll be able to take these tanks out, no problem. But that game mode is chaos, dude. It is.
Oh yeah,
chaos.
It was a good time when I played.
Oh, it's so fast paced. It's gonna be something really different.
I think with the one tank, you'll see even more smaller squads where you just get as much AT as you can out there. And I mean, if you're playing the Americans on that with your medium tank, you're going to have a really, really bad time with all those Panzer strikes that can pen you from pretty much anywhere, it feels like sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a good time, man. They have some tweaks they need to do here and there, in my opinion. But the core game mode itself, with 100 people in it, I think is going to be...
Yeah,
dude, it's like the best way to describe it is like hell at loose, but super focused. Because you don't have to worry about other points.
So it's constant offensive.
It's 100 people on 1 point for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
it's so crazy when that happens. Because usually in hell at loose, it's like you have fights of 20v20 usually.
Yeah,
and people are flanking or defending. This is everyone in the server in one spot at one time. So it's really cool, and I think a lot of people don't realize how crazy that is once you get in there and actually experience it. So I'm really excited for it, honestly. I had really low expectations. I thought it was just going to be a seeding mode for Hell at Loose, but I think they're doing something good with that.
It's just one of those things where it's people on console really enjoy offensive a lot, a lot of newer players, and it's because it's very concentrated. So I think skirmish on console will be a huge hit because it's very, very concentrated, where in warfare, if you're a new player, even on PC, right, it does get to that point where people don't know where to go in the map. They don't know where people are getting shot from. They don't know where people are. I can understand why it gets confusing, but with skirmish being one objective, centralized, little to no armor, it'll be a lot easier for people to jump in and jump out. Also, the time frame's slower, right? I think quicker. I mean, 40 minutes, I think, is the game time.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lower that even more. It flew by.
There's been talks, I think, 30 minutes.
I bet they lowered it to 30 minutes if I had to guess. I can't see people want to keep that at 40 minutes. But yeah, dude, it's crazy, man. It's you want to learn how garrisons / forward positions work really quickly. One match will tell you everything you need to know. They are constantly going down and getting put up. It's crazy. You think garrisons go down fast in warfare mode? The skirmish is like that on crack.
My goodness, I'm excited for it to come to console. I'm interested. I don't know how much it's going to split like the already existing player base. I mean,
Yeah, that's
the
worrying,
fact that we can split the modes out between 2 separate searches kind of makes me wish that we had the same thing for Warfare. I think that would solve a lot of the issues that we're experiencing now with these burn matches for these competitive matches, and I know everyone would be in favor of that. But I know the reason for that was allegedly the split of players. So, you know, I'm interested to see how that's going to end up playing out with maybe we'll get a new group of players in, make it easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. Really cool. I'm really hoping that Hell Loose continues, you know, its growth. I just don't want things to get too stale and, you know, like not continue to innovate because it's such a great platform that Hell Loose stands on, you know?
Yeah,
And
I mean, it's like going back to what we were saying about how this game does something special. To like put it in perspective, we're all still here. There's been what, like 3 new maps in the last year and a half. That's it. Like
yeah,
the Kharkov and the British maps, right?
Yeah.
And we're fucking still playing the same maps every day, all day in,
Depends
day out.
if you want to count the night maps though. So
nah, you can't count those. Yeah, it's like so it's even without all the new content, we're still here playing every day, all day. So once they figure everything out and they start getting decent content in this game, it's just that much better.
Yeah, where it sits on like the spectrum of these types of games is like perfect, at least for me, where you know you have like the more
there's nothing
hardcore
like
Arma. Yeah, it's even Squad is maybe a little bit like too like on the tactical milsim side of the spectrum. Like even little things like being able to ping, I feel like is such a small quality of life thing that makes the gaming experience and the gameplay experience so much more enjoyable. And just being able to communicate like, in the way that you can in Hell Let Loose is I think some of the most fun.
Absolutely.
Hard to beat.
It's like it has enough depth to make me feel like I'm being tactical, but at the same time, it's simple enough for my dumb brain where I don't need to know where an ammo rack is or like, you know, how how a
dude,
certain map
if you were to
looks.
play Postscriptum, oh my lord. I mean, cool game. Don't get me wrong. I love Postscriptum Death. But Jesus Christ, is it hard to get a hang of?
Yeah, you have to know a bunch, whereas Hell Loose, you know, you can jump in and it's like just kind of shoot here. And then
listen, you have to have a freaking like manual on like what ammo type you need to have for what scenario, like a blueprint of the fucking tank, exactly where in the tank you need to shoot to ensure you get like a penetrating shot. Make sure it like blows up inside the tank by using a specific like HVAP shell. Crazy, dude. It's so in depth. Cool, but Hell Loose is nice for those people that are on console or on PC, you know, that you can just step into.
I don't have the time or the brain capacity for that stuff anymore. So I like Hell Loose because it's all about the comms and the teamwork and less about, you know, knowing where a specific thing is on the tank or any of that stuff.
Fresh, would you want to see like a regeneration or like a rejuvenation of the armor aspect of the game in Hell Let Loose, or do you
mean like a complete overhaul or like actual
like to where it's not so like, oh, just shoot him in the back, just shoot him in the side, like,
oh man, I get canceled for this all the time, but I do not want anything like War Thunder or Postscriptum in Hell Let Loose tanking. What Hell Let Loose tanking is because it's fun, it's simple, and not a lot of people will like that answer, but it's true. And you know, Hell Let Loose really captured lightning in the bottle with that. That said, it's not perfect. We're still stuck to this tier system. The heavy meta sucks. It's boring. Believe me, medium tanks are the most fun tanks in the game, in my opinion. So there's a lot they need to do and a lot of ways they could go. You know, they could go a very lazy route of just adding weak spots back into heavy tanks. I know they were in there unintentionally at the start of this, but you know, if you add weak spots to the front of heavies to make mediums be able to damage them, I think you can go that route. Or you can dive deeper into the tier system and start giving things, you know, really different speeds of like turn speeds and turret speeds and everything, dude. Like you could go, you know, make the 76 be more of a tank destroyer and really, you know, maximize the AP, lower the HE, and you could do things like the 75, you know, give it a little more power on HE, make that blast radius bigger so it actually has a purpose. So there's things they can do. It all really depends on how much in depth they want to go, but I think the most important thing is staying true to why it's so fun And that's because, it's very simple. You can jump in. It's all about the comms. It's all about the teamwork. It's not so much about, where you're shooting on the tanks. It's about the journey.
Yeah.
And the proof's in the pudding too. I always, this is about Hell Let Loose in general. You'll always see people being like, they need to make this aspect about it more like Postscript, and they need to make this aspect about squad or this game, that game. It's like, no, dude, Hell Let Loose captured lightning in a bottle. Hell Let Loose does what Hell Let Loose does, and that's what makes it so good. So as long as they don't forget that and they keep going with that in mind, I think they can really, really take the tanky in this game to a next level. There's so many basic things right off the bat, whether it's tanks getting stuck on maps or just they're so difficult to drive and all these little bugs here and there. They can really start with those things and doing some minor fixes, and it would improve it dramatically.
And they've done that so well too, because if you look at Driel, like Driel does so well when it comes to not getting stuck on the terrain. So well.
But Hell Let Looses itself, and now all of a sudden we get stuck on everything on Foy. So it's like,
oh my god,
we just need to fix everything. We just need to fix everything. But there's a lot of little things they could start with before doing a complete overhaul that would really, really improve it and make it fun. They just need to start with these basic little details and work their way up from there. Because if they did a complete armor overhaul, but you're still getting stuck on a twig or a berm, and stuff like that, like it's not going to make a difference. It'll just be more frustrating.
Yeah, and I think you see a lot of people asking for a lot before we've gotten like the more basic elements of it.
Yeah, dude.
Like I think like an arty rework is obviously a thing that people have asked for and proposed good solutions or compromises to. But to even get to that point, like I can't mantle over some objects. There's an invisible wall on a bridge on Kursk. There's other things that need to be a priority, and then we can talk about these more quality, like grander quality of life things that we have.
And I'm totally aware too, like the armor, whatever they do with armor to improve it, I would love it, but I know it needs to take a back seat. There's other things they need to improve in this game, and I think honestly they need to get more maps and content out there before they even think about touching armor, just to keep everyone happy. So it's one of those things where I understand it should be on the back burner, and I totally get it. It's like I would love to see all the infantry stuff improved at the same time as just getting more maps and fresher things out for the player base in general before they have to worry about tanks. Because that's going to be, dude, I can't imagine how much testing is going to have to go into that stuff to get it right.
Yeah, there's a lot of terrain that would need to be fixed for that.
Yeah, and it's so easy to disrupt the balance of that, like of any sort of tank in the game. Like you saw it with the Panther when Panther had the 6-second reload. Like any sort of tweak that goes wrong or anything that gets overlooked can really, really make it a big deal.
Is this another burn one here?
No, I actually just got word from both the clans that we are going to be playing this. So for this match,
here we go.
Yeah, here we go, everyone. But it looks like it's going to be a warfare match on Kursk. So
can I preface one thing real quick? So we have also an honorary guest right now in chat, the creator of Kursk himself. Gritson, we love you.
I do see him in there.
Yeah, I saw him in there. Huge shout out for me and FreshBakedGoods. Gritson created Kursk itself, so he is the father of that map. And
we nicknamed him. He's also a massive tank enthusiast. So,
very much
so. So we nicknamed him Tank Lord in our Discord.
Mm-hmm.
He has his own role.
But absolute homie. Much love, Gritson.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to be a tank lord on this map if you're gonna come out with a victory. It's all about a couple big points during the map. So maybe we can swap to the strat sketch here, where Killa has marked up the map of the strong points of this map. So let's take a look here, and right off the bat, we'll see that the midpoint is Yamki. So right smack dab in the middle. Obviously, windmills are going to be a big part of this map here and controlling of the mid sector. But what are you guys thinking? Raz Fresh?
So this is Night Kursk, so it makes things a little more difficult on windmills. They don't have the advantage they normally have, but yeah, windmills are going to be crucial here, especially for the Germans. Russians, even if they take windmills, it's still going to be not as good an advantage as the Germans taking it. Mm-hmm. What the Russians really need to capitalize on is using that hill in F5 right north of Yamki. That is a very, very underlooked hill that can be really useful for the Russians pushing the Yamki because it's so much closer to the point than the hill is on the German side. Germans have to run down into that valley for Yamke, giving them a little more of a disadvantage. So if the Russians can counter the Germans at windmills, but also take advantage of that hill in F5, they might be in a good place.
Yeah, just briefly before Raz jumps in here, the faction breakdown while you brought it up, it's going to be the 7th Legion is going to be the Soviet Union, while Mercenary Task Force will be playing as the Axis Germans here. So sorry to interrupt there, but while we were talking about factions,
you're good.
It's important to mention that MERC will have the slight advantage as the Germans here.
Yeah, I think that's universally agreed upon too. I don't want to act like that's.
No.
When I draw on this, it's gonna show for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking right here, this whole area is gonna be just not used whatsoever, right? And this is the whole fog area. I'm really thinking that armor, if it were me, I'd be pushing up right here. There's a really good spot on this hill here.
That's tough though. On Night Curse, you can't see much.
You can see generally like all around. Where is it? Oh, I'm sorry, it's not there. It's the one behind it, right? Fresh, that other big hill. It's this one here. This one here has a good hill, and you can see a good amount here.
Yeah.
And then you
right
can also
Muddy Churn.
Yep, exactly. You could also line up in Muddy Churn too if you want. I would put armor there. And windmills, to your point, like it's always important. So it's really tough for the Germans to push up through windmills. I think very difficult. So you're probably going to see some action back here, looking into this zone here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be my armor.
Hey, Caleb, maybe we could just quickly change to Cap C's perspective. He looks like he's just getting on.
Oh, we're already in it. Let's go.
In MERC.
Yes.
For MERC, yeah. They're just getting started. So, Fresh, we're looking at Cap C's footage, bottom right.
Okay, gotcha.
So
let's take a look. So, yeah, he is in EMP.
House.
No, that's great. That's where you need to be on EMP. And it looks like it's already both teams are getting there nice and early. It's 3-3, so you love to see that. And I think what you'll see is you will see the Russians get to windmills first because they can get there quicker with that lane down the left side of the map. So as long as they hold that, I think it's honestly not the end of the world if they don't take EMP right away, as long as they hold windmills, because that blocks the Germans from just walking up and getting view on that next point.
Yeah,
so it's not panic mode just yet if the Russians don't take EMP right at the start.
Yeah, even with that said, it looks like 7th has the initial pressure on the point. Maybe we'll check out Gold Star here on the top left to see what he's up to. He's going to be the recon for the 7th here today. So he's picked himself a nice bush, it looks like, and he is getting himself to work.
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry, the armor is about to get killed here on the top right. He just engaged the Panzer IV with the Stuart. Ricochet one shot.
It's a T-34, dude.
Oh, it's a T-34. Oh my god. Yeah. He killed him. He got him.
Yeah.
Let's swap to Turner then really quick. And see him in
the T-34 just took out the Panzer IV, which is very crucial there to stop that flow. That's huge. That's from the windmills by the Russians there, and that's why it's so crucial to hold that. If they lost that first tank battle, that PZ4 can run right up the windmills and just have a fight on both points. So very, very crucial that tank battle was won.
That T-34 ricked one of the Panzer IV shots too, which is huge. Such a hard thing to pen those things.
Yeah, and they're still in danger right now. They're bouncing Shrek shots, it looks like. So and that's always, when you have people that know how to shoot the Panzer Shrek, you're never safe in a medium tank. So it's one of those things where they're going to have to keep relocating and just keep eyes on the point. They're doing exactly what I would do right now, is just wiping the infantry, running down that hill in the EMP. That's where the Germans will be at a disadvantage here.
That hill that you mentioned too is such a tough place to attack. For all the advantages that the Germans have, if you lose the midpoint like they did here, it's going to be a much more difficult proposition to move in there. You're cresting over that hill with all the fog and smoke. You become a much more apparent target. One of the few times on Kursk Night that you're more visible.
Yeah, there's hardly any cover there. You just have a few wrecks, and you have to make it all the way up to those buildings before you're in any sort of safety. So. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awful for the Germans to push in that way. They're gonna have to figure something else out.
Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out. Just clear it out.
But they have to push in that way too, because if you know, a lot of the competitive players will know this, you need a good amount of players going through the meat grinder and going straight in. Otherwise, you're going to allow the enemy to walk in. So if I had to guess, I would imagine the Germans keep pushing down that hill. It's going to be brutal, but they might get through. And you'll probably see some come up the east side through that smoke and that fog that Raz was mentioning before.
Looks like the Russians captured Yamki fully here, moving in the T-34 towards a position on the what was that point? Muddy Churn. You see him on the top right there?
Yeah.
He's repositioning to try to get eyes on. This is the kind of the opposite of the spot I was just talking about in the map. He's trying to get eyes right on that hill and into Muddy Churn to start shelling it.
He's going to have to make himself a little exposed here, though, to get eyes on that.
Yeah.
Just because visibility's so poor on the night variant here. So he is going to have to risk, you know, ET launching Shreks at him as well as Satchels trying to sneak up on him here, because that is very doable on this map when you expose yourself like this. But it's something you have to do in that starting medium to really put pressure on.
Driving right at the middle, too. Just trying to get... I think he's trying to just beat the heavy tank.
Yeah.
Trying to get as much pressure as possible. He knows he's going to die.
Looks like a cap race here. 7th is without a garrison on the middle point right now, from what I saw on the last map flash. But MERC actually has a garrison on Yamki that 7th has not spotted, but obviously it's been locked. But it might have gotten one spawn wave off there, guys.
Oh, that could be detrimental.
I don't know. I think the T-34 and the Soviets here are going to be able to capitalize on this objective. There's just so much pressure they're putting on. The only play I think the Germans can do is spawning a heavy tank and knocking this T-34, setting up on that hill and supporting Muddy Churn with infantry and HE.
Absolutely. Yeah, this tank kind of needs to be a sacrifice here. Like if I'm on the Russians, I'm pulling people back, but that tank needs to go full send and really just put some pressure on there.
Right.
Take the eyes away from Yankee and make themselves look bigger than they are. And maybe take out a garrison or two.
Yeah, taking out a garrison here would be a huge lift for the defenders even, but
yeah,
they're on the strong point too.
Tons of Shrek shots.
Yeah, dude, those Shrek shots are gonna be brutal.
You can run from a tank though.
Yeah, you can run from a tank pretty easily on that east side.
Oh, there it is.
The fog, but yeah, all the AT here. This is what we're talking about. Those Shrek shots are so hard to get away from when you have people that know how to shoot it.
There is another tank. I think it is a heavy. Yeah, he's dead.
That's great. Let's maybe bring up Cap C here in the bottom right. He is pushing onto Yamki, and he's just west of the village, it looks like. Making pretty good progress. A good amount of squad mates ahead of him, and a couple of people in other squad. So good progress.
Yeah, it's a good way in there. It's a good way in. Use those buildings, use those cover. It's definitely a lot better than pushing down the hill for players.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they were able to use that garrison to get this wave off, that's a huge opportunity for them here.
Yeah, so right now we're kind of settling down. It looks like the Russians are holding Yamki for now. The attack on Muddy has kind of died off here, so we're kind of settling down. The match is kind of, you know, evening out, and we're getting into that real hell loose flow of now people can start really playing and predicting where the enemy will be here.
And it's 2-2. Oh, it's 3-1 now. They must have just gotten a garrison spawn, the Soviets. Germans trying to find that garrison. I think he might have spotted where they're coming from. It's got to be somewhere close to his right-hand side, I would imagine, if they're coming over from his right.
It does look like the Germans, I'm guessing it's a recon. They do have infantry in the Russian HQs, so they are slowing their tanks a little bit here. So the Russians.
And Artie, I mean, Artie's got to be like right there, right? He's going middle HQ, so Artie, I mean, is massive on this map. Like so open. Yeah, you have trenches, but not on Yamki. You have nothing but buildings. You know, you got to really hide in there.
Yeah, and right now it looks like the Russians have recon nowhere near their artillery right now, so that'll put the Germans at a little bit of an advantage here.
Yeah,
I mean they're sitting right in there.
Where I believe the garrison
the Gary situation that you can do on Kursk Night is always interesting to me. I always say it's like you can break a little bit of the rules that you're taught on every single map. Like, you know, oh, maybe don't place it, especially the Soviets where you have such a small garrison. You could fit it pretty snugly in a nice on these bushes on this map. So it's a lot of sneaky opportunities for red zone garrisons that I think I don't know on the PC side as much, but like red zone garrisons on console are very rare nowadays even.
Oh
Really?
wow, yeah, they're all the
Oh, we
rage
use
on
them.
PC.
Yeah, we use
But
them
yeah,
a
going
lot.
back to your point, I always
and
look at
then
red
somewhere over
zones as
here is
something
the
I
next
shouldn't
player
stay up
if you can.
permanently. Kind of use like an airhead, pump off a few spawn waves, and if you can get some cap weight off for just a couple spawn waves, it was worth it. So if they, if you could post one of those in a bush on Kursk Night, you're going to be in a good way, and you're going to have a nice little flank going.
Yeah, I
Cam
think-
C here. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say Chris Kyle was defending a Garrison. I was gonna say to swap to him, but go ahead with Cap. I mean,
Cap C is sitting here on the Soviet point, and he's just frying people left and right. I'm really hoping that he's able to go ahead and find their spawn, because he's right in the strong point of Yamki, just tagging people left and right. It's still 2-1.
Curse the commentator, dude.
No,
Yeah.
every time.
Curse the commentator. Called it out. Now he's dead.
No, can't ever look at him ever again. That's
There it goes. Talk about how good someone's doing, and immediately the karma's gone.
Yeah, I was hoping he was able to go ahead and use that position to. I mean, like, he was going to die regardless, right? But
Yeah.
the lives of infantry, and I hate to say this to infantry players, your life doesn't matter as infantry. What matters is you being able to locate strategic points. So if he was able to use that life to be able to really dial into that garrison, which I think is on the south side of Yamki, based on like where the infantry is flowing from. He could have really been able to push his, his tanks up, push some infantry, and really zero Artie in if they're shooting Artie right into that zone. It's all about spawns. If you can prevent their spawns, you can easily capture that point, and they're surrounding it. It looks like.
yeah, and that's 100% true. I mean, very often when I'm playing myself, like I think like, oh, there's a lot of kills over here. Like you want to get them, but then you're like, oh wait, now let me take the patient maneuver and go one flank further and try to find where they're coming from, because ultimately killing 4 guys is not helpful when the OP is going to have them back in 20 seconds.
Exactly, and that's what a lot of new players really struggle to understand, is being able to go ahead and being patient and taking out the spawns, because you can kill 1 million people, but it doesn't matter if their garrison's still there.
Yeah. And as we say that, Chris Kyle over here takes out a 7th spawn that is just over the red line in the middle of the map there. So he's definitely eliminating a threat to the garrison, which is also right there. So great work by him. And I guess it was my turn to give him the commentator's curse here. So
yeah. No, you're good.
Yeah, those garrisons are the most important ones too. In between the 2 points, those are the meat grinder garrisons that matter, because once you take those down, you get so much closer to the point, and you're also stopping the enemy team from walking closer to yours.
Yeah.
So
Look at Chris Kyle, though. I mean, their garrison placements are fantastic all around Yamki, and setting up for the next attack, too. So if they can continue to get recon teams right behind there, work that next point, and zero into that Yamki garrison, if they can bomb it, that'll be the play. Support it with some HE on that armor, and they'll be gold.
Yeah, those 2 garrisons the Germans have either side of windmills are
beautiful.
Very
they own.
That's like
they own windmills at that point.
Yeah, if they can put some infantry up there, and once things settle down in front of Muddy, they could be in a very good place here.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And like you said, a bombing run is something that would completely flip this map on its head if they took out the garrison and recon worked the back line sufficiently to make it so that they're coming from 2+ squares away. It's going to be really, really difficult for the 7 to recover from a situation like that. It's just maybe Cap C can get eyes on it again if he gets back over there. But it also looks like General Marsh is working his way back up in a heavy, so it will be a little bit before he's back fully into the play here. But I think once if they're able to set up and maybe put some pressure on MERC's point, it's going to be make the attackers maybe sweat a little bit.
Yeah, and it looks like the IS-1 is doing exactly what I would do, which is go down that east side of the map, get to that hill above Oleg's house, and really just sit back and shell Muddy Churn from a distance. You can really cause some damage and potentially get a couple garrisons there too. But yeah, the Russians always have to be really conservative with their tanks on us. So much longer to get back up to the front, not only because the IS-1 has poor mobility, but navigating that trench system is awful. There's no easy way through it. There's only a couple openings you're forced to go through, and it's just
additionally on Night Kursk too, you can't see anything out of the top right HQ. I mean, look at his view compared to look at someone else's view. I mean, he literally can see maybe 10-15 meters in front of him. If I was German AT, man, I would just be sitting right in those trenches somewhere, just waiting for their heavies and their tanks to come up. Mine all that.
Yeah, it can be real rough. There's so many choke points you have to go through as a Russian tank on this map.
Can't see anything.
But they're doing exactly what they should be doing. If they can get up there, it's going to be massive help for the team.
Maybe we can take a look at Cap C here. He's again working the attack, and he's making some pretty good progress. I think he's trying out the other side from what I was able to see. He's on the southeastern side, or maybe I can't quite work it out here, but no, it looks like he's just pushing back through the town again. So had success with that before. With this fog, I mean, you can see there. You can't see more than 25 meters down that road without.
Yeah. Both those spawns on windmills are just going to keep pouring a German tax out. So it's a good place to be as long as they keep those garrisons up.
Delta 4 at the same time. Spawn code on OP. Maybe hold it for a bit.
So I'm listening to Capsy right now, and he's saying he's pushing wide flank to try to see if he can get one of those push garrisons. So he's trying to alleviate some of the push onto their muddy turn point
I know, mate. I'm trying.
before he actually starts pushing, is what he's saying.
Yeah, and looking at some of the maps that, the tankers and the 7th, it does look like they have quite the bit of pressure in from the south of Muddy Churn there. So it might be a bit of a race against time here for the attackers to get a little bit of pressure on before this accumulation of pressure, it bursts the bubble.
Yeah. The more people they devote to attacking from the back with no cap weight on anything, the more the Germans will be able to just walk right into Yamki here.
Yeah, it's a tough.
I'm pushing the
tough
flank, but I can't
attack
find any
on this from that side. If as the Germans not capping first is a big detriment when you find yourself in this no man's land between the Muddy Churn and Yamki like exists here.
Yeah, and the
Something
Russians...
that I find. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying the IS-1 is now finally getting into that position east of Yamki. So that's going to be huge for them. As long as
he's got a repair station there too.
He's got infantry on top of him though too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's going to be bad for them. Yeah,
I would not have pushed that far out, honestly, by myself. I would have really stayed in the pocket, like right over that point.
Yeah.
There's a little spot to the left of Yamki that I also like setting up. That would be really more in his pocket rather than this far left flank. I understand he's trying to go ahead and get a good angle, but man, this is all uncontested by himself, easily able to be satcheled right now.
Yeah, I think the Russians did have a garrison up there. It must have gone down. I feel like I saw one a while ago, but
yeah, the guy on top of him too.
Yeah, this is going to be bad for that IS-1.
Definitely satchel.
Oh,
almost
certainly.
100%. That's a satchel.
Yeah, that's what you don't want to see.
No,
it's going to be
I would
huge
have run
for the
inside.
Germans. Oh yeah. That is
IS-1
massive.
is down.
The Germans can take that down.
Yeah,
that's really going to help them out.
Yeah, I would have really played that a little more in the center of Yamki. Just there's so much infantry. You see where that garrison is? And I can't see exactly what that garrison is, but they have a garrison on the spot. It's sitting in like E6.
Yeah, they're right in the
keypad 3. There's a good garrison they have sitting right there. I would have posted up right on that. You're kind of like hauled down a little bit in that area, and you can put some big pressure all in like the 7 and 8 line.
Russians just shot out a flare east of Yamki. They see that push now, and there's a lot of infantry there, so I'm sure that is being talked about.
Yeah, I see that just east of their garrison there,
right on
Yamki. Yeah, so is anyone close here that we're looking at? Might be that it might be that Chris Kyle is actually the closest here. He's just playing in the middle between the two.
That Russian garrison Yamki is dark red right now, so it might be going down here in a second, and that could be trouble for the Russians.
You know what I find really interesting is the recon. I don't know who's on the top left here. Our recon team for the Soviets is really playing like inside of Yamki, which I feel like would be a little outside of his forte, being very close quarters all game. If I was recon, I would really be minimum two positions back behind the point. you know, your objective as recon is really to put some pressure, take out their spawns. But he's really playing central of Yamki most of the game.
Yeah, right now they need to be spamming flares all around that point because it's
Yeah.
clearly not doing great.
God,
But-
you can't see shit. You're right.
Yeah, this could be huge for the Germans here if they can keep this pressure up. They're doing good.
And he's dead. Again, it's the curse of the
As
cast.
soon as you point
Every
someone
time.
out, dude. You point
Every
someone out,
time.
they're gonna die.
Because they've got no fuel.
Let's take out Caps.
Cap C goes for a
was-
melee.
Go the melee, but he's now dead 'cause we
no.
talked about him.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad, Cap. I'm sorry about that. He did have a nice OP takedown, and then he did try to go for the melee. Which I respect.
Yeah, you gotta go for it for the content.
Let's see who's in. It looks like we're a lot of KIA screens. The tankers now coming back out of HQ, sticking to more of that middle, like you mentioned there, Raz, on the main middle road as opposed to the eastern HQ. Who knows if that's recon or
Yeah,
what,
they'll have a
what's
little more
gotten in there.
visibility over there at the very least. So it won't be.
I think that's the play.
Yeah, you gotta see the satchels coming. That's your only
Yeah.
defense. You don't have
Yeah,
extra
like
support.
there's definitely not going to be any armor. I mean, I've been really looking close at their garrison there that they have on their allied side, the windmills one, and there really hasn't been any red at all. And you know if there's a tank coming around pretty well off in advance when you're coming through here.
It looks like the Germans do have a heavy tank rolling up Yampi right now, so it's going to be a couple minutes before that IS-1 can get up there. So
I have
Germans-
not seen a German heavy tank yet, so I'm
it's
really
on the
interested.
map, but there's
Must
no
have been just
friendly infantry
defending.
around it. There's no. It's right in between the 2 points, but according to the map, there's no friendly infantry around that. So
Yeah,
it
and
could
I
end
think,
up
I
just
think
like
you're
that.
seeing that.
Look at the sniper. Look at the sniper. You can see the sniper.
there it is.
They're
There it is.
nailing him.
Yeah.
Right there.
This
He's
is why-
looking at him.
Yeah. This is why you
Surrounded
need to
by
stick
about
with
10
infantry.
people. Oh my god.
So they're gonna end
Jeez.
up just like the IS-1 ended up. 'cause this is night
Absolutely.
first, and AT is
and-
your worst enemy.
Yeah,
Dang.
that was right on top of the garrison too, which
He got
luckily missed.
absolutely surrounded. I almost
Yeah.
think it might be better off running a medium tank, especially as the Germans here, just so you can get moving a little faster.
It's
Because
tough,
really,
dude.
they're not doing a lot of tank versus tank. They're only doing infantry, so maybe just putting a lot of pressure on their infantry.
Yeah, both these tanks are going to struggle. Night Kursk is always rough because
Very tough.
it's an AT playground, and then in a comp situation where you have players that really know how to use AT and
Yeah.
know about redeploying for more ammo and like know how to do satchels, it makes it that much harder on a map like this. So both these tanks, this is, even though it's Kursk, this is not a tank friendly map when it's the night variant. And both these
I don't know,
tanks are gonna be hurting.
I really enjoy running mediums on this. I will say that the T-34 is going to be a little harder because the Panzerschreck can pen any angle on that. But if you're running the Panzer IV, you can really get scooting without taking a lot of damage on that.
Yeah, you can on like a public server, but these guys, I mean, you saw those Shreks hit that T-34 real quick, dude.
Yeah.
These are players that know how to shoot here, and they're really going to hold these tanks down, and it's going to come down to the infantry. But the Russians, they're walking right into Muddy Churn right now.
Yeah,
enemy supplies dropping here.
brief cap pressure just was relieved this first second there, but looking at the OP situation, the Gary situation on both sides, doesn't appear too much in threat. The Gary was hot for a moment. I'm not sure if they got it since then, but lots of OPs to help relieve a lot of this pressure on the point.
It looks like the only thing the Germans have really lost is a hold in front of Muddy Churn. There's no OPs or garrisons in front of it, so it's going to be, the battle's going to start shifting to that point now, it looks like, unless they can get something figured out.
Yeah, and Chris Kyle is working really, really hard in that in-between section between Yamki and the neutral line on the other side of that hill, just trying to prevent any German garrisons from establishing themselves on the blue line. And I think 7th is willing to accept that and putting a lot of their infantry on the south side, or the east side of the map, in that corner over there, where there's that little house that you can build a nice garrison at.
Absolutely.
Although Yamki is looking a bit underdefended, just now having gotten a garrison back up on it.
Yeah, the pressure.
And the bottom left guy, I can't remember his name, he is like in the middle of a field, just putting people down.
Yeah,
that's
let's
Chris Kyle.
Check out Chris Kyle, yeah.
Chris Kyle
Yeah, he's
is
doing great right now.
knocked a
He's
whole
hunting.
squad. He's knocking an outpost or some sort of spawn over here, trying to. Emptied his whole clip. I think he's trying to work on the attack or just flushing out some of the defense here.
Yeah, it looks like he's just kind of playing that in between and making it so that they can't build up. But at the current moment, I know he's like the more defensive player for them, but he's got some pretty good progress in the middle of the map, at least just owning his surroundings.
Yeah, I really think he's probably working that flank here and just making sure he saw a whole squad. I mean, he wiped an entire squad there, and he's really making sure they're not able to push and punch a hole through. Here on the hill, too, you have such a good vantage point. You can see him pop another guy moving to Muddy Churn across. So a really good spot for him to post up. I like this building off to his left to sit up in that compound. But that tree with the broken vehicle, that's a really good spot for the Russians to push up, too. You have good coverage and high ground compared to where he's at.
So there is a pretty decent push from the Germans behind Yamke here. It looks like the IS-1 just stumbled on it. They're in that big trench directly north of it, with the IS-1 rolled up right next to it. Yeah, he's going to town on the German infantry up there right now. He just discovered that push. So that's at least 1 or 2 apiece, which he just marked one of them, so that's great.
Nailed one.
Yeah, that's going to help a lot there. But the Germans definitely
is a nice spot for him.
This is like I was saying, this hill behind Yamke, this is where I like to be.
He's giving me some anxiety, though. He's in the middle of a field. I think there's infantry all behind him, too. I would move into that objective as fast as possible. He needs to make sure he has people on his ass. They're going to push up this left side so fast. I hope he gets moving. Like they're going to
rolled up on that trench. Yeah, he rolled up on that trench, and there they are. So as long as infantry can help him out, he'll be okay. Yeah. As long as infantry can help him out, we'll be okay.
He's yelling for help.
I would be screaming at this guy. Look at Turner. Is Turner gonna get him? Oh, he's gone. Where'd he go?
I think he's okay. Yeah, now he's getting some help here and getting some support.
Oh man, there you go. This is the spot.
Yeah, if they can keep this IS-1 alive on Yankee and they can use that hill behind it, and that IS-1 will be able to shred any infantry running up the point from any angle here. So that's going to be really, really massive for the Russians there to get that tank up to that point.
Feels like this is the first time a tank has been able to really get established too. You know, obviously we don't have a MERC tanker here, but like it feels like so much of this game up to this point has been, you know, we're a half hour in now, and just now the tanks are kind of getting established. At least Seven's tank is getting kind of established.
Yeah, I think that's props to both teams, honestly, for realizing the importance of that, of really taking the tanks out of the game here.
Yeah, by the time the first heavy was getting spawned, we saw Recon already was in HQ given hell. So it's you know, both teams want to prevent it before it starts.
Because if you don't have Artie, I mean, you're just gonna have HE flying. I mean, Muddy Churn is such an open zone, as well as Yamke, but more so Muddy. So if this IS-1 really gets set up, I mean, he could just be slinging HE nonstop. It looks like they got that garrison up too, south of him. No, sorry, east of him. He's probably working over to that repair station they have set up, and now they have it secured, which I think is his original plan. Or he's veering off the road. I'm not sure what he's doing.
You know, I think when they had that first, when he first got up here, the 7th had a really solid push going, and he was trying to press the advantage while they had that push, and then in between that decision being made and getting there, the push kind of gotten wiped out, so they were kind of hanging out there alone, which ended them.
Cut a little right.
But now,
really hoping
No, he's in a good spot. He's got a garrison LP next to him for radar, so that's better than nothing. And nowhere's really safe on this map. Nowhere's really safe on this map from AT, so you have to use those spawns as radar and really know. But it looks like he's pushing up.
Look at this. He's angling up, man. He's angling up. This is it. This is tank versus tank. This is what we've been waiting for.
But if they can take this tank out, they have clear line of fire at
oh, that's it. Thank you. Like, this will really lean towards the Soviets if he's able to knock this. We just got flared. That German tank really pushed up too far.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Oh, there's the flash.
I just saw him fire. Hold here for a second.
Does he have depression?
He should.
Right here, so we don't
He's
fire
kind of trusting pains.
Yeah, this is what you have to do on this map. Because if they can take this tank out, you know, you don't necessarily need to see Muddy Churn. You just need to ping it and look at the map and then shoot there.
Let's see.
What is this right here?
Oh yeah, that's a good blob. It looks like another blob.
He's behind this, I think. That's a Katyusha.
Katyusha coming through. This could be the 7.
Ooh, IS-1 taking a hit.
Oh, they might get seen here.
Yeah, they're seen. They're sparking, so they might go down here.
He's gonna ricochet it. Is he gonna ricochet it?
Oh my goodness.
Dude.
That is huge for the Germans there.
They're-
Really,
That
really
is-
good kill.
Yeah, they must have had an accurate ping on them because I mean you couldn't see anything through
No.
that
I
commander's.
think the tanker's down with.
Absolutely. Yeah, they were
That's
That's
just
one of the
taking
problems there too.
Trusting
Like
the
when you're,
pings.
Yeah,
when you're rolling straight up,
Yeah, one
over
thing's down
cover,
with.
it's really difficult to back up. I mean, they kind of
definitely.
turned and tried to re-engage instead of just owning that they lost that battle initially and backing up. If they could have survived a little bit longer, maybe pushed back further, they could have ricocheted that second round off the turret. So those mantlets are so hard to pen.
On ping.
It looks like Cap C just took down a garrison.
Yeah.
Push Garrison is down.
I don't know where he is in the map right now, but that looks like it's in between both points. Yeah, it is.
yeah,
That's
he's
huge.
just
That
over
is-
the line.
That is one of the most important garrisons to be taken down right
Want to
there. Is
push
the
further
blue
east,
zone
find-
for the push
yeah,
directly
east
into
to
the
find the
point.
other
So
push
that is
garrison.
huge
Yes
by
or no?
him. Great move right there.
Interesting that it was built on the south side of that line there rather than the north side. It was like so close, but I guess they
Yeah.
wanted it to be a little bit more defended with those grouping of vehicles. But you know, obviously, if he was on that long one, I think you might have seen a strafing run try to get him there. So you know, I think that's just making the best of where you can place him on a map like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good game so far. I mean, it's still 3-2 to the 7th, right? 7th is winning. I think they're
Correct.
Soviets.
Yep.
Yeah, 7th. And I mean, it's been a very close battle. Like the MERC has been kind of on the losing edge most of the time, like trying to hang on. About, I think a quarter lost was the furthest they lost it, but they've also gotten about a quarter on Yamki. So really good redeploying when they needed to, reestablishing garrisons. I know Cap C here really working the attacking line, making sure he's taking out those sectors. And look at that, he's taken out a repair station, which I think is the repair station that the IS-1 was set up on. So he's setting up those satchels to take out those garrisons. He's just working this zone the entire time, making sure he keeps that push from really taking a good foothold into Muddy Churn.
Yeah, it's
Taking out a
crucial, too.
repair station, so huge.
You could see on the German maps 5 minutes ago they were all behind Muddy. They've now taken back that front line. They're starting to get reestablished
I can't
again.
find any other push
Really can start
garrison,
pushing
so-
Yamki after this, and that's all thanks to doing things like Cap C did there, of taking down that garrison as well as that IS-1 going down. The Germans are clawing back here. They really are.
Yeah. I think it's still anyone's game. I think Kursk gets such a bad rap, but Kursk, LL Main, Stalingrad are such maps that you have to play so much differently. It's all about map control. It's so much about map control because there's so many crucial parts that you have to own before you can make any push. And look at that, he's about to take their attacking garrison right there. Cap C knocking out the garrison.
So
Huge.
crucial.
Knocks out the entire push for the Soviets.
That is going to be huge for the
Dismantling.
Germans to reestablish that front line and get some bodies in the Yamki cap zone again.
Enemy garrison on ping is down.
Cap C is putting in some work today. I'm telling you what, he is just knocking them. And look at them, they're really making a good push. Punched a hole right into Yamki's defense here from the east, pushing west.
Yeah, they're making the best of having that tank off their
I
back
got two
for a
of the
little bit. I
garrisons
mean,
on the
they're making the
east
progress when it counts and taking the spawn points out too. They're not just you know, and then, you know, approaching all these strong points and, you know, places that you can hold and get spawns off, and just making sure that he, you know, again, finding another OP here and taking it out. Just incredible work here.
Kicking some ass.
That's really, really going to help him get settled and get the focus back on Yankee here. It looks like the Russians now have less of a front line closer to Muddy on the blue zone. It looks like there's 3 OPs and a red zone set up behind Muddy that they needs to push into. That is a bit of a gamble in my opinion. I think they really need to focus on getting those blue zone garrisons back up that Cap C just took down.
They do have a nice crescent, the 7th do, of garrisons, like out from the windmills all the way kind of the crescent around Yamki, including one on it. So I think it even extends down into the red line there. So I think that they're trying to like kind of focus and squeeze them into that corner. But without an armor being as part of that push, I think it's going to be tough to pierce that strong point.
Got one.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised that the Germans haven't utilized windmills as much as they have before. I don't know if those two garrisons are still up, but they had a good opportunity to attack from windmills. But it looks
They're
like
back, Garrison.
both those are
They got
one's on and one's red, so it looks like they don't have the opportunity anymore, unfortunately.
they got a good foothold right north of Yamki. Remember, I mean, when that IS-1 rolled up, if that IS-1 hadn't rolled up at that point in time,
Yeah,
would have been a lot better. But man, like they had a good foothold. They just need to wipe all those back spawns out and push right in from the north.
They do have one red zone garrison set up in the trench line northeast of Yamki, which could be huge because if I'm looking correctly, the Russians don't have too much there. They could work that trench line all the way into the north side of Yamki there again.
Yeah, and Cap C again doing work here. I don't know if we could go back to him here, but he just dropped another enemy garrison behind Yamki and is looked like he was placing some supplies down to do a support swap or setting one up at least. But he's really all over the place and doing the dirty work here.
He's behind that tank. I'm not sure if I got him. I got a hit, but don't know if he's dead.
Yeah, the boys are doing good.
IS-1 starting to move back into the objective here. Looks like he's trying to support the point, or they're marking a tank. He's rolling up mostly windmills.
Yeah, he might just be trying to get sight lines on Muddy Churn and go for shots, which is not a bad play if you're trying to take out garrisons.
He's not going to see shit, dude. He's got to push close to the Yamki.
You don't have to.
I don't know.
You just have to ping, and if you can get through to those buildings.
There's so much infantry between him and Yamki. He has to cut into Yamki. He's going to get stuck out here to dry and just going to get wrecked.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. He needs to be an infantry. I'm just saying, if he can take a couple shots,
yeah,
it'll go a long way.
Because that hill in front of him is the one that I was talking about, that originally they had the garrison. I mean, that's a great spot to be in right there. But this whole zone is all run by enemy infantry.
Well, the Germans usually have to push that trench, like in, what is that number there? I need to go back to the stratch guys.
Well, if you look at Cap C, he's on the flip side. He's on the other side of this tank battle that's happening right now. So he's infantry that's pushing that tank. And you can see he has two squad mates pushing on the other side of the IS-1 from his camera, which they're trying to get around. So yeah, that IS-1's in a lot of trouble. Oh, he's pushing the hill. We'll see. I don't know, man. Like, there's so much infantry around him.
It's a bold move pushing the hill right now, but I'm curious.
Very much so. No spawns up to act as radar, and just visually, there's a lot of fucking guys there.
Yeah, windmills so as well.
If we look at the sniper here, they do have a garrison. The Germans have a garrison right in front of the IS-1.
Yeah, that
so
one in
he's rolling up. Yep,
that's
rolling up. He's on the hill.
That's one of those spots where you're kind of forced to put a garrison when you're playing this map.
It's really tough to
Is that little trench line right there? So there's going to be infantry flowing out of there.
Yeah,
they're everywhere. They are everywhere. Oh, come on, nail that garrison, my man.
Playing the tiptoe game around some mines.
He's just running.
Russian recon taking down a German garrison.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Oh man, armor shooting. I think towards the IS-1, or was that?
Yeah, let's check out Marsh again here in the tank here. Looks like he's getting smoked out, which is danger.
Usually means satchels are coming next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, can we eat from here, or is it
Oh, this is not good, man.
we have to crush
Yeah,
that hill?
the infantry is just able to really sneak around so effectively here.
There's nothing in front of him. No friendlies at all.
There's a flat northeast of Churn for you.
Yeah, he needs to be doing constant 360s up there, because all it takes one pesky engineer.
There it is. They're behind.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Having a rough time.
Yeah, that's a rough go, man. Night Kursk, tough map to tank on when you're going up against good AT. I'll die on that hill.
How did that pin?
Cap C, though, taking hits from windmills. Looks like the Russians are kind of trying to control that windmill area. Very smart by them.
Holding with MGs.
Yeah, tank is retreating, trying to get some more infantry support, get some reps up.
Yeah,
The hull is very damaged.
They just need to play conservatively here, because it's just not working out for them, pushing ahead of the point like that. They just need to stay as close to garrisons and friendlies as possible.
Russian sniper now is way behind him. Finally getting really into Muddy Churn and looking at that gap between the 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, if the Russians can take out those back garrisons behind Muddy and really pen them in there, that'll be huge. They're starting to get really close to the point, working that west side, coming from that one red zone garrison.
Very much so.
Yeah, with the infantry, so it feels like it's so scattered by Merc. It's very effective, obviously, at stopping this armor and being a pest with the garrisons, but it's hard to get him focused up on an attack. And in the meanwhile, Seventh is been able to kind of like weasel their way in there to the southwest and the west, and really going to start having some pressure here in a second.
So they need to do something quick here because they are starting to lose their grip on Yamkey from a map perspective. Doesn't look like their garrisons are being put up as fast as they can be, and then the Germans are set up to pounce with those 2 blue zone garrisons going right into Capway.
Yeah, and actually,
IS-1's dead.
Yeah, IS-1 went down. I hear they're looking for a repair station, so that's another feather in Cap C's hat right there. Taking out that repair station, potentially resulting in that IS-1 being taken out a little earlier than it would have been.
On the point.
So well done.
Starting to turn here, it's getting contested, and that's good on the Germans here. They're really loosening the grasp of the Russians on it.
Chris Kyle just doing laps. This man has been around the 4 sectors
He really has.
for the past 30 minutes. I mean, if you're a brand new player and you want to know how to play defense effectively, watch Chris Kyle, because he knows exactly how to do it. Work those 4 corners the entire time. Watch for any major pushes. Work towards their spawns. He's killing it right now.
Yeah, great defensive work. I mean, how many times do we see it even in offensive matches where you're the defending team, where everyone will defend from the point, and that's not going to work for a half hour. At least it shouldn't work. If it does, it's because the other team is having problems too.
The German heavy tank just got knocked.
The Russians are doing a really good job at recovering here from that German push off those 2 garrisons. They're really trying to get resorted, it looks like. Getting a lot of bodies towards Yamkey here, really making sure they hold what's important.
Yeah, it looks like Cap C is trying to stay on top of his OP as much as possible.
Spawn up that OP, get some.
Oh man,
hot still, but
Sniper here found their garrison, their back garrison for the Germans. This is huge.
Yeah.
He's going for the supplies now. He's going for the garrison. He sees it. It's marked. That's gonna be potentially it here for Muddy if you're able to knock this.
Both
and cap pressure is starting.
Both garrisons around Muddy Churn are dark red for the Germans.
Yep, it's a long burn though. This is behind the 2 sectors. He has to make sure it's marked. If he doesn't get it, it might still be in it.
The garrison on Muddy just went down, by the way. So if he takes this down, this could be really huge for the Russians here. Because they have OPs all over Muddy. So if they take down this garrison, it's going to be good for them.
That should be good.
Yeah, the strafing run is the thing you got to watch out for. But at this point, I think just locking it out did all it needed to do, and he's able to snag it.
Yeah.
Amazing work.
Nailed it. This is huge. This is their push for Muddy Churn. He's calling out. It's good. They're going to take it out. Supplies are gone. 2 garrisons are gone. Little to nothing for the Germans to hold back.
OPs, so it's all about getting that last garrison up real quick.
And if we look at his map here, they have 2 garrisons set up just to the northwest of the final point, which is going to make it a very, very easy thing for them to rotate these defenders up and the attackers up and get that immediate pressure. And I'm not sure if MERC has a garrison set up, and their HQ would obviously then be locked out.
They have little to nothing at their HQ. They have 2 garrisons, I think, and they're very, very far away from their last objective. I think this could be it.
They got 1 garrison up on Muddy, it looks like.
Yep, they just built one 30-second timer.
Is it enough?
It
might be if they can get a big
might be
spawn
just
with.
enough, and it looks like cap pressure is kind of going back and forth. 7th is unable to get themselves really into the circle to get that extra weight there.
Katushka coming in over that garrison. That garrison is dark red, so it might block the spawn, and the Russians are aware that's where the push is coming from for the Germans here. So Katushka blocked with that garrison getting spawned. This may still go to the Russians.
Yeah, definitely an all hands on deck moment. You rotate your attackers back. You gotta stave this off here with the garrison situation.
They are defending for now.
Huge defense. Cap C now has a STG. He's been capping fools for the entire game, and now it's over.
Just came to help out on defense for a moment.
Yeah, it's
STG is absolutely best gun in the game.
Okay.
See,
Children, if you need
I'm
me back,
all
call
for
it,
the
please.
Gewehr. STG, I have my own difficulties with. I know it's better than I make it look.
Yeah, it can be a legendary gun, but looks like the Germans are going to hang on here, survive, which is
That's
great
incredible.
for them. Yeah, that was looking real bad. They
Yeah,
still
the
do not
Katyushka
have a garrison
definitely
set up, though.
keeps the pressure on. Yep. I don't see a lot of outposts near the point though for the 7th.
The Germans
Copy.
are making a counteroffensive north of Yamki. They knocked one garrison and they're taking out the second garrison north. If they can take that garrison out, they might have a good flip here onto Yamki.
The Russians do need to work on getting some garrisons back up around Yamki. The Germans are starting to do work around that point.
234 on ping. 234 on ping.
Maybe they felt it too. They felt the attack culminating and devoted more resources to it. And
Yeah.
you're going to pay the price in terms of these garrisons going down behind them.
I think this is where you're going to see the two experienced sides come really show their true colors here. You're going to see both teams resettle. There's still 40 minutes left. Nobody's going to overcommit. You're going to see a lot of players go back and defend here and say, all right, let's get set up and have another go. I don't think you're going to see either of these teams overcommit.
And now that you mentioned it, about the IS-1 and your fondness for the mediums, it looks like Marsh is set up in a medium tank here. I see him zooming along here.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. I agree with Raz at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen any heavy tank presence from the Germans really do anything, so it's like, why not have a go?
Just keep the mobility, just blitz right in there, put as much pressure on as possible. I think that's probably the play in Night Kursk.
200 fuel for taking out 1 and 2 garrisons is a fair trade, and it's even more fair trade.
And you know what? Let's take a look at Cap C here. Cap C is satcheling
satcheled.
T-34. I don't know if
Cap C, I'm telling you, this guy is an absolute menace to the Germans, or sorry, to the Soviets. Like, he is just wrecking them.
Meanwhile, Gold Star taking down another German garrison, and that's one that was above Yamki, so the recon has gone back to take down a red zone garrison.
I'm glad he's been doing that. Like, he was playing really big into the defense, and well, I know he's still defense here. He was really playing offensive a little earlier.
It looks like they're really starting to commit their recon to Yamki here and just abuse the flares around the point, which is what they should be doing on a night map. So you might as well make use of your sniper and really try to get those garrisons down as well.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, you do a lot of the dirty work on defense.
Oh, Armor's
got
a tank right behind him. They say there's a Tiger on Charlie dog mark here. They're coming up behind him.
Panzer IV right in front of us.
I don't think they're in a T-34. Is that a? That's a. Is that a T-70? Yeah.
Looks like T-70.
Oh,
I
jeez.
think it's T-70. They're right behind Panzer IV. Or, yeah, Panzer IV.
53. Hold.
Oh no! Tiger and Panzer IV.
Oh, the Tiger definitely has them.
Oh god! Scoop it! Scoop it! They gotta scoop it!
Oh, they could do this.
They can scoop it.
Oh, they're running. Oh, that Tiger turn.
Come on! Come on!
Yeah, Tiger's gonna take that one. Yeah.
It's so close.
Oh, damn.
That's unfortunate.
Seeing
that Tiger emerge from that smoke.
Though. Yeah, that was terrifying. If they had the T-34, I think that would have been the play. I think they would have been able to knock both those tanks. They kept moving.
Already burned at him. There's no. If a Tiger knows you're there, that turn in first is deadly.
Dang.
It's one of those things where you kind of have to suffer the IS-1 because it's how else are you gonna take that down unless you don't have to be as lucky.
Yeah. Rough run for the Russians there. Russian armor has not been having a good time.
No. Chris Kyle again putting on a clinic here, taking out a garrison, rockets it just to make it quick, and pushing down into the point here. He's really making it tough on these attackers to get off.
They're still trying to work out what armor they should do. Cap C just died. Oh, we got a rocket here. What is he gonna shoot?
Alright, boys, I'm gonna switch.
Nothing.
I will say, MERC is starting to really establish the front line more than 7th right now.
I would agree.
Our garrisons are getting right up there.
Happy to
They're going to be able to push 7th back a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, momentum is definitely swayed from when they lost all their garrisons back then, where it seemed an inevitability, and they're really making use of the momentum on the counterattack. What you have to do. You can't get too conservative after a situation like that.
Absolutely.
Slow going, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, the Germans, I mean, MERC's done a wonderful job of really settling Muddy down. They have a really good hold of it now. Whereas it looks like 7th is spread a little bit on Yamke. So we'll see which strategy pays off here.
Yeah, and it's about the halfway point of the match here too. So you've definitely seen both of these teams from that chaotic start where 7th was 3/4 or a quarter of the way to capping Money Churn to now where both teams are really settled in and consolidated their gains. But MERC has 2 really nice garrisons right on the line to Yamke, and both of them are completely clear. So an opportunity to get something started here.
If they can get that Tiger
really
in position,
get in there. Yeah, man. I think they'll
if
be
they
able
can
to
get the Tiger
switch it.
involved, they'll be able to swap this really easily here. If they can get that Tiger taking shots at Yamke and really clearing out those buildings, I think they're set up for a really good push.
AT is really the only problem that's going to be for them right now too, because
if they keep their distance, though, I think they'll be fine because they have 2 good garrisons backing them up with infantry flows constantly. I mean, look at that infantry line on Chris Kyle right there, straight in from the garrison.
Here we go, though. There might be overcommitting the MERC here because 7th is now sliding into Muddy from behind their backs again. This is the same thing that happened before. They're coming in from behind.
Hey, yo.
That's what's up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a quarter cap progress on Muddy Churn now, and definitely a concerted effort to get back here by MERC. They're hanging on to 1 garrison that is just to the southeast of the point, so and just a few OPs. So it's gonna be difficult for them to get in here.
Gonna search the point real quick.
This is looking pretty good for 7th
Halfway
right now.
cap,
I mean,
though.
they have a lot of OPs around Muddy.
A lot of OPs.
Dude, a lot of OPs.
Oh my god, this guy. He's just killing everyone.
Monster.
3/4 cap on Muddy Churn for the 7th towards MERC.
They might take this. The only garrisons MERC has are those 2 on the front line here, and they are all sprinting back to the point here.
Gold Star might be aware of that as well. He's getting his sniper out to the north to try to get them as they come back towards the point.
Yeah. If they can hold them off from coming back, it looks like they might actually take this. It's 3-2, 2-2. It's getting close. But they just need to stop.
Another great opportunity here.
Reinforce is down for MERC on the point, so they need bodies in that
2-2, contested, capturing, still capturing. 7th might have this. Be really close.
Yeah, the reinforce is still on, so it's they gotta hold it for a little bit here and take some bodies off the point.
That
it is literally 1 person.
Fucking straight. God
Gold Star really coming in clutch here, but it's not enough with that reinforce. He's gonna have to hold out.
All he has to do is just hold out. That's it. I think there's still 2-2, but once this reinforce goes, that's it.
This is
so a bit close.
Damn it. It's a bit of COD timing there for Gold Star. Looks away, then he pops out. That's brutal.
Still, it's 3-2 with reinforce. There's still hope here, but the Germans are doing a really good job.
Cap C is on the strong point as well. And he's got the defense on.
Cap C is everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this guy.
He goes down because we talked about him.
Every time.
Every time.
What did I say about Cap C? Who's good? No, trash. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, he's killing it. He's killing it.
It's back to being 2-2 at points. It's really fluctuating here. 3-1.
Wow.
That reinforce really saving the day there for the Germans.
Gave enough time for them to flip it.
Yeah. It looks like they have a garrison rebuilt to the east of it as well, so They're getting
They
things
did
settled
last
here
time,
again. Yeah, and the Russian OPs are all pretty much wiped. So looks like the Germans, again, I mean, this is where the experience shows. They're not overcommitting. They're all coming back. They're all settling before pushing off again here. So
I just
good job
want
of them.
I want to note something about Cap C too. He's constantly switching squads and maximizing role utilization amongst the squads. I don't know. He must be getting calls from other squad leaders saying, "Oh, I need a support player in X squad," and he's jumping around. I see him going from engineer to assault to support. He's really all over the place and maximizing those support recharges, which have been so critical. Garrisons are going down left and right here, so he's really doing everything he can to help the team. Well done, Cap.
Absolutely, and that helps with saving the point like that, because you'll have a squad leader that'll have an OP closer, whereas a couple squads won't, and it's like, okay, just have people join that squad, and they'll be able to get to the cap zone faster. So when you're trying to do a reinforce or something like that, or get people into the strong point, that's where that really comes in clutch.
Yeah, OPs are so powerful. I think the any new player who gets into the game, I know, I wouldn't encourage you to go squad leader right away, but it's definitely a powerful role being able to choose your spawn point and get 6 people in potentially to help you out.
100%.
Left now.
Flares going up.
Go left now. Go left now.
But yeah,
Stay on the...
MERC doing a great job of really holding down Muddy here.
Damn, that was nearly it, but they've fully reestablished their spawns back on Muddy Churn. Muddy Churn, not an easy objective to hold, especially with how open it is from every freaking angle.
Let's check out this Kyle. Yeah,
about to
Kyle's
take
on the
down
AT.
This might be Marsh's T-34.
I think it is. It is.
Boy, yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, here we go.
This is it. This is it. Marsh again.
Marsh having a rough day, dude.
Yeah, he is.
Is he getting away? He might be getting away. I mean,
He
this
need
is
to
tough.
get out of there.
Yeah, you can't really square up with German AT when you're in a...
I don't know if he had a second shot. I think he only had the one.
I think he might be loaded. He might be just looking for another angle or something here.
Yeah, try not to give himself away. Germans, MERC is losing Muddy once again here, but they are capping Yamke at the same time.
Not even close, though. It's almost a quarter.
I know. They did find the garrison on Yamke here.
He is about to drop that garrison. There he is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Cap C taking down the garrison on Yamke here. So MERC is not going to have a reinforce available right now if my timing is right, and there is a lot of Russians on Muddy Churn here. So they might have gotten in there.
Not good for 7th.
Yeah. Or that was a great. I mean, this might be really good for 7th. Not good for MERC.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep getting confused with the teams. Jumping back and forth. The Russians.
A lot to deal
good
with.
for Russians.
But right now, it really looks like the Russians have taken control of the Muddy Churn strong point, and they are just encircled here. But that's all you need.
Oh, armored down.
That was Chris Kyle.
Able to knock that dang T-34 out.
Chris Kyle's also the only one alive at this present moment of all the streamers. Awesome work by Chris. He's really a dominant performance here on defense.
Like
3/4 cap.
Yeah, 7th is going to take this for sure. This is not looking good for MERC here because they do not have a garrison on the line if this goes down. So they're going to have to really depend on their OPs here once this flips.
This is close.
Looks like they're coordinating their flares.
Another tank as well.
And there's a cap for the 7th on Muddy Churn. Wow, that took a long time and a lot of attempts to get that, but let's see if they're able to consolidate quickly.
It's still 2-2, so there is time to flip this back real quick, but it's all about those Germans throwing down those OPs and immediately jumping on it before they can get settled here.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you always have to worry about in situations like that where it could be like a lose 1, cap 2 situation where if you catch them in that in-between status where, if you're able to get the cap back on quickly, you can have your guys who might have stuck around, like your recon team on Yamke and cap 2 right away. But 7th already setting up a garrison. It's hot, but they are going to be ferrying those defenders back up in the next 40 seconds.
Yeah, and 7th did a really good job, even with that Garrison going down in Yankee. They've already gotten that reestablished. They're doing good here about settling in before they push on.
Fresh
yeah,
here we
Merc,
have
unfortunately, not able to get their spawns back up with their OPs. They only have like 1 or 2 OPs across the line. Everything else fully burned. And 7th armor as well, running in a T70, holding
Getting
that
chased.
very far east. Yeah.
again. I mean, they can't. They're not getting having an easy time getting out of HQ even at this point. So
Yeah,
No.
this I can't stress enough how tough this map is when you're going against good AT. It's really rough.
Especially as the Russians. Like, Russians with their mediums, unfortunately, they can just get pinned. That's the worst.
Yeah, and they only have, like, probably quite literally 5 exits out of HQ that they can use, so...
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to pen them in here. And the Germans are doing a really good job with that. That's the one thing they can take away from this map is they're absolutely destroying the Russian tanks, but it's not doing them enough favors right now.
yeah, a little bit of consolidation work being done by MERC here. I'm sure that they recognize that they need to capture 2 objectives now, and it's gonna be tough to get off the back foot here.
Another IS-1, Chris Kyle about to knock this one.
AT already hitting it. He's coming up with 2 Shreks too, so if they can get... Well, he's down.
Ahead of him for a second, he's dead. But they have it zeroed.
Yeah, the last one's having a rough time up there as well. Doesn't look like any tank's safe this match, so...
No.
That's crazy. But this is going to be tough here. This is going to be really, really tough for Merc to come back from this. Muddy Churn, if 7 can get settled here, those points are so close to each other, it's going to turn into a real meat grinder. And it's hard to get a red zone garrison on Muddy Churn if you're the Germans.
Yeah.
There's not many places you can put that aren't out in the open.
Cap C.
Rough.
Yeah.
Again, is just working to keep his point uncontested here. It's still an effort to get the garrisons rebuilt, I believe. Looks like 7th is establishing themselves slowly here now.
Yeah, it's a slow crawl. And then Merc is rolling out a heavy tank out of the HQ behind the 2 points, so that's going to do really good things for him, especially if they roll it down the edge of the map right behind their infantry. They're going to have straight shots at Muddy Churn here, and that's going to be a huge help if they can keep that thing alive.
And tanks pushing up. I mean, they've had a really tough time of it, but I mean, they've been able to at least make their presence felt when they had the chance to those few times. So, and as we say that the 7th have initiated cap pressure, at least the beginnings of it on the final point.
We killed that Panzer IV.
Saw the message. The enemy has captured a critical sector, capturing.
Oh boy.
Sector. Flashing
it for a second.
Yep. It's enough to get some people to turn around maybe and go back to the point.
Yeah, this is going to be either one of these takes is going to be really tough for either one of these teams. This is probably going to go for a while here. This little standoff between these 2 points.
Just a slugfest. I mean, they have a pretty clear line of Soviet forces north of the Germans' last objective, and they're just rolling in. But it's a complete just front versus front offensive here.
Yeah, and that's at the beginnings of cap pressure here. Quarter cap for the 7th. Just a couple people on the point, though.
Yes, this is looking good for 7th.
Could be all it needs. That's going to knock the garrison out for the... the spawn, the key spawn.
That garrison, that red zone they set up on the line there,
if
crucial to the west. That's just going to let players right out into that trench line.
And the red line's so close here.
The Germans don't know. Merc doesn't know about it from the looks of it. So this is going to be really good for 7th here to get players into that cap zone, get some weight on it.
Got a tank on point.
And I'm sure the 7th's trying to get their tanks up here as well so that they can start shooting into the point. Like, it's so close to your blue zone if you're the Soviets here. It's like you can pretty much spawn and be on the next step into their their strong point. So it's going to be a proactive effort by MERC.
Germans able to defend their objective for now.
Holding on. That garrison is still up, but is now locked out to the west of the point in those trenches. But as far as I know, oh, there it goes. It goes down.
Yeah,
that's huge for Merc right there to hold on.
I don't know, man. I feel like this could be it. They're surrounded.
This is a tough one because when you
They have
look
some
at
good garrisons, though.
yeah, when you look at MERC's garrison setup, they have one either east or west, but with that strong point just being so close to the line, it might not make it a difference here with 7th being able to run right into there. It's going to be real tough because they just have this no man's land in between, which they only have one OP in right now. And you can see with that flare on MERC right there, they can see 7th where they're putting all their troops, and they're beeline it for the strong point.
Oh my god. Cap C almost gets decapitated by a tank round. He's just going through the trenches in the middle of some tank battle.
Maybe 10 times more.
And he's just rushing back to the point, it seems.
He's trying. There's so many guys between he and the point. He nailed that guy in the leg. Russian troop just walks it off like no big deal.
Eastern
oh my god, he is
starting to go
fully
down
stranded.
again.
Oh, he is surrounded, dude.
Yeah, using everything at his disposal at this point, just trying to get any
Marsh-
sort of pressure back.
Down a garrison. I think he took
He
down.
just knocked their main garrison on the objective, right?
Marsh. Yeah, that looks like it was just on their point. I mean, he's looking away from it right now, but
They got a Luke's cross their nose.
That
beelining
looks
for
like
the
a loop of
objective.
desperation to get some cap weight in there, but it gets stuck on the fence.
Jesus. Oh no, that's a flanking garrison.
OP.
Oh, this is huge having a tank up here. They're just gonna shell those trenches now and really help the infantry get in there.
Dude, Cap C is still alive. This man is a absolute menace. No bandages. Dead.
Can't talk about him,
he was
dude.
trying everything.
Dude, he was like down to his last rocket, no bandages, just a freaking Panzerschreck in a dream. Beautiful.
Oh, wait, there's
Armor's in a really good spot. I mean, he's just got great overlook. I mean, the problem is, though, his whole right side's fully exposed. If there's anything that comes up, he's fried.
It is 3-3 on the point, according to Gold Star's cap weight, who's in the strong point now. Capping. 3-3 capping.
Nice.
7th here. So it's a tough fight. This could be it.
Wonder if they'll drop a reinforcer, if they'll try to save that for if this ends up getting worse here. But it is definitely the razor's edge.
Yeah, MERC has lost a lot of those spawn points around the point here. They don't have nothing to the east. Which is
7th absolutely collapsing. Just collapsing on them right now. Full, like Russian.
Yeah, ooh, this is looking
here.
good. This is all just one put. Yeah, they're really utilizing that eastern side now that the garrison's gone down. And they're capping 3-2.
I think this is it. I think this could be it halfway for the 7th.
Could they make their way
Even
back
if
to
they
the
have
finals?
a reinforced,
Straight in front of me.
I don't think there's enough, even with the reinforced.
Try going for
I
OP.
think there's just too many Russians on that objective. I think this is it.
Yeah, the tank is pressing the advantage now as well, pushing in Gold Star, playing the grass.
Long,
Very good.
drawn out battle.
They are still capping.
Very much of a stalemate.
It's
3-2.
flashing. Yeah, it's flashing between 3-3 and 3-2. 4-7 still taking contested. 3-3 defending. 3-2 for MERC now.
Getting surrounded by the entire German team from every angle. I think there is a spawn near him that they're trying to get around into the objective and just run right to the T-34. I think they have the reinforced, but there's no way they're going to hold this. Rocket coming up behind
They're behind us.
T-34.
Back to capping again. 3-2 here.
This is
Yep.
it.
And here
There's
comes
no
the
way.
tank to push in.
The tank coming in to really seal the deal here.
We're good. We got it.
It is
He's
so
gonna
close
drive it
still,
to the
though.
strong
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Oh, MERC back defending 3-3. Tank needs to get its body in that cap weight here to really offset that. It's not going to
They're
do
not
much, but it might be
Gonna
enough.
go down.
Capping even more here.
Yep. We got blueberries.
Katyushka
75%.
coming in
Hold our backside.
on that MERC push right behind the point here, which should help
south.
a little bit.
We're in the final quarter of cap progress.
Ooh, that reinforced is that
Oh, it's 3-1-7
Not enough.
on the
3-1 to
strong.
7?
Not
This is
enough.
looking
And
like they're gonna take it.
And
GG.
Harsh
Nice, 2 apiece.
was able to get
Clearing
a
OPs.
two garrisons before
That is
two
it.
OPs.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That is game
There's a guy in this trench right here too.
Dang.
Waste a shot on that.
And there it goes to the 7th.
Wow, well played. Both teams
Seventh moves
honestly.
on to the finals.
Damn.
That was a battle,
Exactly
man.
how it
That could have gone either
69
way sometimes.
kills. That couldn't have gone better for Marsh.
Nice.
Wow.
GG.
Nice.
Damn.
Yeah,
That was
an
awesome.
amazing match by both those teams. I mean, Cap
Absolutely.
C put on a clinic on offense there. Marsh going crazy with that tank. I mean, he's running for his life most of the game, but makes it count when it matters. Gold
He
Star
did have that dog
taking out
in
those
him.
back garrisons, and then Chris Kyle just being everywhere. I mean, that guy was a defensive mastermind. So both these teams pretty evenly matched this game with all said and done, even with the map and everything. So it was super entertaining to watch.
I mean,
100%.
Cap C had to be my MVP there. That guy was a freaking menace. Absolute menace, dude.
Swapping around from all the roles, taking down all the garrisons. Good job by him.
I think he knocked a tank, right? He at least 2 tanks, like knocked out the garrisons, and entire pushes were stopped just because of Cap C. Really, really well done. Good job.
I mean,
Fun round to watch.
Yeah, Kursk is such an interesting map, and at night you really get to break a lot of the rules as far as what you're able to build. And both these teams had it going crazy the whole match with taking out each other's garrisons. It was really, really great. And I'm interested to actually hear from these guys. We're actually going to be having Hump, one of the commander for MERC, on very, very shortly here, as well as Krieg, who is the commander for the 7th. So I'm going to ask them a couple questions and see what they thought of the match, and definitely be interesting to see what their thoughts are.
Hell yeah.
So what did you guys think? I mean, anything that you saw that was a particularly interesting thing in this match? I mean, you played Hell Let Loose a lot. How's the console side look in some of the strats that were able to be pulled off that would never be able to work in PC side?
I wouldn't say it's that drastic. I mean, it's just 2 very experienced teams that are going against each other here. I think the most surprising thing is, honestly, up until the end there, when that tank really helped seal the deal in the last point, armor was like non-existent in this game. AT on both sides really took him out of the game here. So this was all infantry really on Kursk doing the damage, really sealing the deals for both teams. So that was kind of surprising to me. Usually when you go on Kursk, you expect armor to really, really make a huge impact, but not so much this match. It was they were having a real tough time from ATs on both sides. It looks like tanks were just constantly going down. So that was cool to see. But
yeah,
honestly,
I would agree.
Both teams played great. I mean, it was like we were saying, every time a point started to get lost, both teams did really good about reorganizing and getting settled and really not overcommitting to anything, which is you love to see, and that's really sets the difference between comp play and public play.
Yeah, I think like if you're a new player, it's really interesting to watch something like this when it comes to comp, because there's so much tactics in reference to resetting, like Fresh said, and MERC did such a good job. Although they lost, they held that from being lost for so long. Every single time they were losing it, they would restructure all of their garrisons within 2 to 3 minutes. And that is so important. It's something you see really only in comp games. When you're playing a public game, people are like, I'm working on a garrison. It's not about working on a garrison. You get it up, period. And MERC really got those garrisons up. And then, defense with MERC as well, like just identifying very quickly where those pushes are coming from and then knocking those out. Like we saw, I think Cap C, right? Like taking out that repair station that he knew the armor was going to push from, and then also knocking out some infantry and taking out the garrison that was pushing in to Muddy Churn, just knocking their whole offense. Also, Chris Kyle did the same thing, but just on the opposite side. So really good by MERC, really identifying those pushes right away.
Yeah, it's hard to sit here and say like, why a team lost or why a team won. They both were doing almost the exact same thing and really doing good at it. So this game could have gone either way multiple times at different points. So props to both teams.
Yeah, it was a great match, and like you said, multiple times that MERC was able to kind of push the offensive pressure off of them while also immediately getting those garrisons done. You know, it wasn't someone needed to be told to do it. You know, everyone was making that effort to get those garrisons back up and establish that network as well. And you know, once we get Hump in here from MERC, he'll be able to maybe give us a little bit more insight into you know, how he saw it from his seat, you know, obviously talking with all the squad leaders and everyone like that. So that'll be great. Yeah, I still can't get over Kursk just being such a first tank heavy map. Like we saw the one situation where the Tiger took out the tank there, and then other than that, it really wasn't so much tank on tank action. I mean, it was just infantry kind of sitting in the bushes and waiting for their opportunities. But as I say that, we're actually joined now by Hump, who was the commander for MERC this game. So welcome in, Hump. It was a great match.
Hey, Hump.
Good.
Well, thanks, guys. Hope you're all well. Yeah, that was intense on our side.
I'm sure. I mean, we were just asking, you know, wondering, like, what are some of the critical moments that you saw, like, from your seat in as the commander? Like, what were the moments that were most important to securing the victory? What was something that you saw in, you know, from talking to command chat?
Well, for us, it's always the opening phases of the game. So losing mid cap was critical to our ability to then set up and push off. We're immediately on the back foot at that point. It didn't really give us much space to do much work, despite having the critical advantage of having the Germans. We never really got to flex our muscles in that way because the pressure was immediately on us and we were on the back foot.
Yeah, and that's something we all said immediately too. Is you know, you notice that your side's the Germans. You have a little bit easier time to, you know, establish that dominance of you know, your tanks and everything like that. But starting off on the back foot is always going to make things a little more difficult.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's real hard to take Yamke as the Germans once you lose that. And we were all talking. You guys did a great job of even being on the back foot. It was impressive to see how well you guys resettled. You know, there were several times where you guys could have easily overcommitted and really kind of, you know, put yourselves in a bad place. But the team did a really good job of resettling, reshaping, getting all the garrisons built before pushing off again, which was really good to see.
No, I appreciate that feedback, guys. That's something we tried to focus on for this year, was getting the boys to respond to the in-game moments, the cues, the cap pressures and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a shame we never really got to put our own pressure on to use, as I say, the Germans' abilities to put pressure on the 7th. Our game plan was to put pressure on them from the outset, go ultra attacking from off the bat, and we just never managed to pull it off, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I guess that brings me to my next question. Like, what are some like takeaways coming in after this match, like into next season? Like, what are some of the considerations that, you know, you might have saw here that it might influence your preparation?
So this season, one of our main focuses was kind of upscaling our player base. We've got not a young team. We've been in both seasons now, but we've got quite a low level, or a lower level team when you look at the scoreboards compared to people like the 7th. Our player knowledges are a bit less, in particular where we come from, having a previously open recruitment strategy. We're just now looking to upscale our player base on the finer details of the games and just better gunmanship, combat scores and stuff like that. So going into next season, that is one of our main priorities. We think we've got our strats nailed down now. We've got our own unique play style, favouring tanks, gameplay and stuff like that. But from next season on, we're looking to nail down the gunplay in our aggressive nature.
Yeah, I would say you guys really have a strong defense, but that offense, it was difficult to balance the two, especially with Yamke, you know. But that defense you guys had was incredible, and like the fact that you guys held on that long was amazing. Like you had a lot of players. I mean, whether you mentioned like they're not maybe, you know, as experienced as some of the 7th, but like, dude, immediately once there was a push identified or there was a potential for loss, your team was able to very quickly identify that threat, knock out that push, and reset. So very, very well done to you and all of MERC, honestly. Like incredible job. And I was just saying right before you joined, like that's something that I think new players need to learn is how like the infantry doesn't really matter, right? It's really identifying those threats in reference to the garrisons and the outposts and pushes, and prepping for those.
Yeah, totally agree. The boys came in clutch, so very well done to Humans, Red Devil, and our midfield teams of Adrian and Monty. Hats off to them guys. Our strategy is never to defend for 90 minutes. Our strategy is to defend enough to swing a haymaker from the right and get on the point. But unfortunately, I just couldn't do that.
Very well done, though, man. Really well done.
I know we're sitting here trying to think about what you guys could have done differently, and I just think it wasn't your day, unfortunately. But you guys played really well, and I think you did all the right things for the most part. Just had to go one way, and fortunately, it wasn't your guys' way. Really fun battle to watch, though. I mean, again, like Kursk Night, not like the most ideal of armor as well, and like your armor did fairly decent. Like none of the armor was really facing each other, but there was a part where your tiger really made a giant push and punched a hole. It looked like you were starting to get closer to Yamki, and then he just got knocked. But man, really difficult, especially on Kursk Night. Yeah, MERC AT was doing wonders that game. You guys really took the Russian tanks out of the game for the most part.
Appreciate
pretty
that.
much till the very end.
Yeah,
didn't feel like that right enough. We know the 7th are really aggressive with their AT gameplay. So if we both knocked each other out at the same time, we're doing all right, I suppose.
Yeah, they really didn't have any armor pretty much the entire game until the very end. Like they couldn't get past Yamki like at all.
Yeah, once you get that freedom of the map and put some distance between the HQs, it's usually open season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I guess that brings us to our last question of like, you're taking on the season 1 champs. They come into this match undefeated, 7-0, 5-0 victories the whole way through. What were the guys thinking as far as like coming into this match? Were you trying to do anything different, or are you confident in what you built to where you're just about execution and performing to the best of your abilities? Or was there outside considerations of we need to play differently because we're going to be facing this different challenge?
That's a good question, because we put a lot of thought into this one. One train of thought was we play our game and we try and force them to adapt to us, which we tried to do. But after seeing a couple of things from the 7th and from some of their streams and that we've been looking at, they're quite light logistically. They don't focus on garrison setups and stuff like that. So we knew we needed to come out the traps swinging, as I mentioned before. We really wanted to put pressure on them out the gates and make them fall back on us, because that is the best form of defense. So that was probably the only adaptation we made, or it wasn't really an adaptation. It's the gameplay the game style that we tried to implement. But we just knew that we had to have that as goal number 1 in the first 10 minutes. But as I say, we never got to pull that off. Them guys are anacondas of players. Like, we just felt that squeeze, and you can never get their garrisons, because as I say, they're quite light logistically set up on the back lines, and they're using OPs aggressively. It's really commendable what the guys are doing over there from the 7th.
Yeah, we saw that too. I mean, you mentioned the Anaconda. I think there was one point where we saw like a crescent of garrisons built by the 7th that were all kind of like focused towards Muddy Churn there. So, you kind of see how they like to constrict in. And I think we said that the only thing that was kind of helping you guys out was the anti-tank work and preventing that armor to be there to kind of smash that, constrict that circle onto the point and going for the big punch. But you guys did a great job of kind of preventing that and holding it off a couple times, even when it looked like it was going to be a cap at that moment.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that one moment, that one strike of luck, just to read the game appropriately and say, let's go for it. But again, wasn't our day. So hats off to the 7th for keeping that pressure on.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you for joining us here, Hump. It was a great season by MERC, and I want to thank you for joining us here and giving us some of these insights. So great work by you and the boys, and thanks to Cap C and Chris Kyle for offering their perspectives here. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I look forward to watching the stream back, and again, all the best for the finals for the 7th and HLLE when that happens. I'll be watching that, and thanks to you guys for putting on a good league that the boys can look forward to every week, and partake in. It's really good and commendable, you guys facilitating the league here. So we don't have a lot of tools on console, and this game is kept alive by us. I think it feels at times. So yeah, again, keep up the good works, lads, and we'll see you in S3. Hopefully we make the finals next time.
Absolutely. We'll see you in season 3.
Pleasure meeting you, Hump.
Yep. Thank
See
you
you
for your
later,
time.
guys. Cheerio.
I love his accent.
Thanks again to Hump. We're waiting on Krieg, who is the commander for the 7th. But yeah, I mean, while we wait for him to join, I mean, I think he hit all the notes that we saw from our side of the things as well. I mean, particularly the Anaconda comment. I mean, that really describes a lot of how the 7th worked on this game and worked their attack. So I think it was really, really good work by them. And I mean, it's just hard to deal with when on defense there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was the perfect way of phrasing that after watching that.
Yeah, they really did sit there and bide their time to make sure they had that moment of armor and infantry spawns to be able to push onto that Muddy Churn. Once they got Muddy Churn, it's the same thing. They even, squeezed even harder onto that last objective.
Yeah, and now we are joined by General Kriegus, the 7th commander here. So thanks for joining us, Krieg.
I think we have to have a formal introduction. We are the champion. No, just kidding. Welcome in.
Not yet.
Oh, well, I mean, the initial
finalists.
Right? Yeah, finalists.
Potentially.
Oh, pleasure having you, man. Good to meet you.
So Krieg, what are some of the critical moments that you saw from the game as the commander? I think you're on mute, by the way.
Almost. I think he's trying to get it to work.
I'll give him a second.
It was probably when they shot, right? When they shot and then killed the bad guys and then captured the bases.
More often than they had their guys killed.
Garrisons were built. People were shot. Objectives were captured.
On points.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind the all the burns too. That really can take away some of the adrenaline.
Definitely. I think he's toggling around.
Yeah.
Probably tried joining on your phone, Kriegus. I'm not sure if it works that way.
Might be easier.
He keeps going to like deafen and mute and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the 7th did a really, really good job of just capitalizing on, when they were able to knock out all those objectives. Like, they really bided their time and not overextended. Like, really, really, really sat there, probed like what their weakness was. Once who was that? Chris Kyle was able to flank behind him. They really started pouncing.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Kyle did put on a clinic this game with all those tanks. It felt like he had that Panzerschreck just where it needed to be whenever he spawned in.
Yeah, the game management. I'm curious to see what he has to say about that because they did so well with that. The game management was what won him the day, I think. Just knowing when to fall back and when to push, and that's really tough to do.
I think he's having issues with Discord.
Yeah.
You're deafened. Oh, wait. He's not deafened anymore. There he is. Talk.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Hey. Welcome in.
Yeah, welcome and congrats, Krieg. Good win by the 7th there.
Absolutely. Yeah, good job.
Congrats.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
How was it kicking butt? Taking names.
Shit map, picking points, but got it done as always.
There you go. Just wondering with some of the critical moments that you saw as the commander during that match.
There really weren't a whole lot, really. I mean, we lost to Gary on mid a couple times, but defense always takes care of it, so I wasn't really stressed about anything. Shit for the tanks with it being so foggy, so I mean, climate-wise, I guess a little tricky, but aside from that, not too bad.
Yeah, that's the one thing we noticed is the MERC AT on the 7 tanks was brutal. They were after you guys bad, but the map doesn't do
it's like you push that hill. Yeah, it's like you push that hill on a bloody, kind of just baiting yourself anyways for all the AT guns and shit, but is what it is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think like you guys had pretty much equidistant like defense. Like your defense was very equal. Where you mentioned right, like you would lose a garrison, your team would just immediately rebuild it. Same as MERC, they did the same thing. I think the difference was that offense was just able to probe a little deeper and really get like capitalize on some major knocks with the garrisons. I think Chris
The
Kyle
problem
knocked
with
a good
MERC
one.
rebuilding their garrisons is they put them in the same place every single time. So they
Yeah.
just ran right back to where it was and took it out again.
Exactly. Once you secure those zones, it's basically that's it.
And we saw Gold Star do that a couple times as recon, just like kind of come back to that same spot on that neutral line between the two objectives and just take out the Gary again. And that was a big moment both of those times that happened. So we definitely saw that too. But Krieg, the 7th defending champions, obviously coming into this season, a lot of people have you might have a target on your back. Everyone wants to, dethrone the champions. Like what were did that influence any preparation, or did you just kind of like, we're going to handle our business the way that we always have?
Doing the same thing we have been. They're welcome to try, but good fucking luck.
I like the confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Nah, your game management was freaking good today, man. Like, it was like you guys were great. We were not overcommitting when someone could easily made that mistake. You guys were getting settled. You're regrouping. It was really good to see. There's not too many things you guys could have done better there.
Yeah, for sure. Always room for improvement, but I'd say overall, pretty decent game.
Yeah, and speaking of improvement and defending champions and all that stuff, obviously we found out yesterday Hell at Loose Elite's going to be in the finals. This sets up a rematch of last season's championship match. What are you thinking looking ahead to that? Have you started looking ahead before today, or what's the deal going through all the guys' mind now?
Kind of been expecting that match since the beginning of the season. There are a lot of teams that stepped up, though. Berserk being one of them. WRTB put up a pretty good fight when we fought them in Summit on Omaha. I don't know, as far as anything on the level of us or even close to HLE, though. Just seems like they're not quite there yet. So I'm not really worried about that either. Just looking to beat the record for last finals. See if we can do it a little bit faster.
What's the record, Craig? Why don't you share with everyone? What's the record?
Fastest 5-0, or how long it took us to beat HLE?
I was wondering what the record was for you. You trying to 5-0 fastest ever, or are you trying to beat them faster than last year?
Don't really care as long as I get the championship again. Mostly because of the stuff with Summit and Indros. I want to do Summit champs versus TPL champs and have that be 7th versus 7th.
see if that'd be a fun match to stream. I think everyone would enjoy that.
Oh yeah, I mean, already bagged Summit, so let's go one more game.
One more. Yeah. So, I appreciate you joining us, Krieg. Well played by all the guys, showing while you're the defending champs and putting on a good match. So thanks again for joining us and congrats to all the boys.
Yep. Thank you.
Good job.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Y'all take it easy.
Take it easy, Krieg.
See ya.
So
awesome.
7th, confident as ever going into the finals.
Very confident.
I love it.
Yeah, they have every reason to be, so you can't blame them. As we wrap up here, any more comments here, Fresh or Raz, from the match from your side?
No, I thought it was well fought by both sides, and the game management for 7th really showed, and I think that's what won them the game today.
It's really interesting stream style. I it's so different than PC. But I think you guys put on a great show, and I really appreciate you guys having us on and allowing us to take pleasure in what you guys enjoy as well, because it's just like it's a whole community that we are not really exposed to, and I would love to go ahead, like Fresh and I both really want to bring a lot more eyes into the console space and continue to help you guys from whatever platforms we have. So I really appreciate you guys putting this whole show on, and the production is awesome. So thank you for having us aboard.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. You guys do so much for the game as well. So we appreciate you guys coming on and joining us here for this. And again, we just want to plug the charity drive, which is in the comments here on the Twitch stream. So if you can, those donations are very, very much appreciated, and it goes to a good cause. So we really appreciate that. If you want to see more of RazBora, Fresh Baked Goods, myself, my YouTube is Caparzo KRC. Raz Fresh, you want to plug your channels? I think everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm over at YouTube, just youtube.com/FreshBakedGoods, and I post a bunch of Hell Loose stuff, as you guys probably know. But that's where you can find
YouTube,
me.
Twitch, TikTok, RazBora.
One thing. Choose one thing, Raz.
Twitch. Come watch our live streams. We have squad up Sundays every Sunday. Hopefully, I'll move the squad up Sundays, on console, so we can squad up for new players. But I try to teach a lot of new people. So come check us out.
Awesome. Great. And if you're on console or you're in a clan, you want to get involved in TPL, join the Discord. It's on the Twitch channel here as well. So get involved, get into some community events with some of the clan members. It'd be great to have you and grow this game. So again, just want to thank you, RazBora, Fresh Baked Goods, for joining us. Killa, awesome job in the booth.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for the production.
Yeah,
killing it.
Amazing job.
Silent piece behind the scenes back there, dude.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
I really
thank
appreciate
you all
it.
for joining. I appreciate everyone. Take care.